And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please welcome to the ice the members of the 2016 NCAA National Champions from the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back to the Has-Beens, presented by 10K Takes, brought to you always by the Chill Boys. And you can go on www.chillboys.com, and listeners, you can type in HB15 to get 15% off your first order from the Chill Boys. Get your underwear, socks made out of bamboo. I just re-upped my order. It's all I'm wearing. Got my dad a pair, my grandpa a pair. I don't know if he's going to put them on. He's still having a tough time separating himself from those Hanes, white underwear that he likes.
Yeah, discolored.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of discolored, in the crack region.
All over. I mean, no offense to old people. They got stuff oozing everywhere. I love them to death, but God knows what.
This evening, I am welcomed by Trevor Olson, Jack Mason, our producer, the horse of the show. And my name is Gage Ausmus, and we are joined by a very special guest. He's probably on his high horse right now. Played at the University of Denver or Denver University, whichever you prefer. Matt Van Voorhis.
Let me set the record straight. It is the University of Denver.
Okay, so
DU, but University of Denver. I don't know how they came up with that, but
you know what? I actually like DU better. It's like no one goes their name and then a university after.
Yeah, I feel like UD sounds kind of weird.
UD is not good. DU is like, okay, we got 9 natties. Yeah, that's DU.
But I feel like it gets confused because like Boston University is BU and they go Boston University.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about them. Let's disregard everything I just said. Okay, let's get into our weekend recaps here. Olson, Mace, you guys get up to anything good this weekend?
Got drunk at a concert on Saturday or Friday.
What was the concert?
It was Quiet Bison, Alice in Wonderland. It was at the Armory.
Unbelievable venue.
It was gorgeous. That was my first time there. I mean, drinks were like $30, so like that was
first time at the Armory.
Yeah, first time at the Armory.
I haven't been there either.
You haven't been?
No,
I've never
it's
been.
Gorgeous.
You go to the Armory. You go to these concert venues and stuff. The Armory is so funny because there's no rules in there. It's like the Wild West. Like you can do there's people just smoking blunts in the middle of the crowd, like doing whatever they want. There's no rules. It's
you just got to get in.
It's like that. It's like that video of that security, that old security officer like patting down people. Just he's supposed to pat them down. He's just like, good. Good. Well, okay, keep going. Sorry.
But then, I got super drunk there. That was fun. Great concert. And then Saturday, just went for all fun with my buddies. That was about it. Pretty low-key weekend besides Friday.
Not real golf, frisbee golf. But
it's real golf. Yeah, we discussed this last time.
I'm waiting to get on the golf course, though.
I stepped on some toes. I called frolfing not real golf. I felt bad.
Oh, it's a great sport. I was a big frolfer in high school.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Frolfing is unbelievable.
Get
I
outside
feel like
with
I'd
sun.
have a blast. Yeah.
I used to use it as a workout. So every time you throw, you got to sprint to your ball or your frisbee. Sorry. So you throw your frisbee,
terrible.
wait for it to land. You sprint to the next one. You sprint to it, throw it, sprint. It's a hell of a workout.
I went to, this is years ago, Highland Ski Hill. They have a frisbee golf course. And I went there with a buddy one day and we were just playing for fun. And there was some dude who was pushing a stroller and sprinting between shots. And you're going up, like, it's not a mountain, but it's a big hill, right?
Yeah.
And this guy was taking, I think he made it like 4 holes. And then he tapped out. 'Cause, like, I give him credit. He was working his ass off, but it's like, it's a little bit hard.
You know that guy's like, before the round, he's like, oh, I got 18 in me. I'm sprinting all 18. And then he lasts 4 holes. He's like, fuck it, I'm done.
It's like you starting a diet. It's like, I'm going to go hard at this fucking
It's like the New
diet.
Year's resolution. I'm going hard at this.
He's pushing the stroller and the kid's on the side walking up the hill with him. Like, you got it, Dad.
Well, that sounds like a great weekend, honestly.
I kept it super chill. I watched the Masters. I gummied out one night. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very nice actually. Needed that relaxation. I wish Sunday would have been a little more exciting, but Scotty Scheffler is an animal, so can't be mad about it.
The chef daddy. He's on some type of roll right now. I don't know how long he can keep it up, but it seems like every year in golf, like we grew up with the Tiger era kind of.
Yeah.
So I was just used to one golfer being the best golfer ever for so long. It seems like every year there's a new guy, like there was Brooks Koepka, and then you had John Rahm last year.
Yeah.
Now you got
a couple years.
Spieth.
JT had his year. DJ had one of those years. And now you got Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
it was
that's true.
so awkward on 18 when Scheffler.
Imagine
my
he
gosh.
5 putts and they go into a playoff.
I think I was texting my dad. I was like, watch this guy miss all these putts and we go into a playoff. Then he missed the first 2 and I was like shirt over my head. I couldn't watch it. It was so awkward.
Have you guys seen all the videos of Scotty Scheffler trying to put on his vest or jacket throughout his career?
No.
And so there's videos of him and pictures of him trying to put on jackets and vests and all this stuff throughout his career, and he's always struggling. So someone tweets this whole video out and he's like, if this guy wins, it's going to be chaotic if he tries to put on that green jacket. And then it goes to him. And then it goes to him trying to put the green jacket on, and he missed the armhole like 4 times. just on par.
And you see him there and he's like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
There it is. Okay, yep.
They need to figure out that like master ceremony with the green jacket. It is the most awkward thing because it's like a quiet room and nobody knows what to say. And then like poor Hideki Matsuyama barely speaks English. And so he's just sitting there nodding his head. Then he's got to put the jacket on. And he probably doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah. How hard would that be if we're over in China, like playing these events and they're all speaking Chinese and we're just like, yeah, you want put it on now? Yeah, okay.
That's like one of my best buddies played in Riga, Latvia, and the coaches wouldn't speak English in practice. And he'd be screaming at him in Russian because he'd mess up a drill and I don't know what he's saying, right? So you just go to the back of the line and then before you know it, he doesn't get a rep in because he doesn't know what's going on. They go to the next drill.
That'd almost be nice though, because I used to bust drills even knowing exactly what's going on. That'd be nice to not understand because you're just like, well, I didn't know, I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
Like I had no excuse back in the day when I was just busting these drills, doing them wrong. Like coach was like, I explained it perfectly and everyone else is doing it right. Well, I was fucking I was daydreaming off in the stands. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
No excuse. You do use those excuses though. Like you'll hear Evgeny Malkin and like Kaprizov, all their teammates will say like, no, yeah, they speak great English. We talk to them all the time. And then they're in the media and like talking to people and they're acting like they can't speak a lick of English because they're just fed up, like don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
Unreal excuse.
Oh, it's
That's
great.
respect.
Maddie, how about your weekend? You get up to anything good?
I sat on the couch and watched the Masters. I watched the Frozen Four.
Yeah.
I watched some NHL, and I worked pretty much all weekend. Just kind of, I was from home base, just kind of managing everything while I had. My partner was out showing houses for me and stuff, so made my life a little bit easier, so I could watch a little bit of sports.
Yeah, I mean, life as a realtor, you're kind of always on the clock there. I mean,
it's nonstop.
I've seen some people dealing with realtors trying to buy homes and they'll be sitting there at like 9:30 p.m. like, oh, I don't have the answer to this. I better text my realtor. It's like, well, your realtor's probably got a life. He probably doesn't want to text back at 9:30 p.m. But you want that house though, so go for it.
I mean, there's nights where I've been on the phone at 11:30 at night, and we're talking terms and contracts and whatever, and it's part of the job. So
yeah, it is. I mean, it's probably. I mean, there's there's pros and cons to every job, obviously. And
I kind of equate it to like playing hockey, right? Like you work the weekends, and then you get kind of your Sunday, your Monday, and your Tuesday are kind of like your light days off, and then you start picking it up Wednesday again. So
I can imagine it's fucking wild right now too.
It is. It's demanding, right? Because you're working with a lot of buyers, and so you're running around the city. I mean, there's some weekends where I'm putting on 200 miles. You know, like you'll be up in like, I don't know, you'll be up in like St. Michael, Albertville area, and then you'll go down to Rosemont, and then you'll go up to White Bear, and kind of anywhere in between. So it's a lot of driving. It's a lot of podcast time, but you know, it's kind of nice. I think it beats a normal 9 to 5 in some senses.
For sure.
You know, you can make your own schedule and
For sure.
and do what you want, but you know, then the sacrifices you're kind of always on. So if you're out to dinner, you know, like one time, I think this is last summer, you know, my girl and I, we were going to the Mall of America because she likes to shop and look around and whatever. And so it's kind of our time. And I got a call from a client and they're like, God, we got to see this house right now. And I look at Lauren, I'm like, I got to go. And I drove and I was like, you know, you go shop around for a bit. I'm going to run show a house. I'll be back in like 45 minutes. Right. And so you just ditch her to go show a house quick. You come back. She's got a couple bags and, you know,
showing the house around. They're asking a few too many questions. You're like, yep. Oh, okay. Well, all right. I'll see you later.
I ditched my girl for this. So like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a nice weekend. I had an unexpected weekend with, so Ols kind of introduced me to this guy, Jude Hull.
Yeah.
Ols, how do you know Jude again? I mean, he obviously has Duluth ties, but
Yeah, so yeah, I guess Juder and I are family friends, and anyway, Brett Hull, obviously a well-known hockey name, played at UMD, ended up being best buddies with Jim Tonnato up in Duluth.
Yep.
I played with Dom Tonnato, so just through that whole web of shit, you know, we met a few times, and then I came down for Spring Jam, right?
Yep.
yeah.
Had a time and ended up meeting up with Juder and all those guys, and we've kind of stayed in touch since. And Neil Goff, another buddy of Jude's, another guy I've stayed in contact with forever.
Yeah.
So it's just through networking and that kind of stuff through.
Yeah, I mean,
people in Duluth.
it's kind of a funny story. So my dad actually was a freshman while at UMD on the football team, while Brett was a freshman for the hockey team. So they used to, like, my dad, they used to work out together and kind of hang out in college. So my dad, you know, always told me he knew him. But then, you know, when I met Jude, it was funny because, like, he was like, yeah, you know, I told my dad I was hanging out with you. He's like, oh, ask him how Troy is, you know, like, it's my college buddy. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Small world.
yeah, but anyways, like, so I've been to one Kid Rock concert in my life. I went to it at WeFest, and when I was walking into the concert at WeFest, I was like, why am I here? You know, like, I was kind of pissed. Like, I don't know any of this guy's songs. You know, he sings all summer long, whatever, great song, but
Yeah.
I don't know what this is going to be about. And then I leave that concert, that first one, and I'm like, oh my God, that was insane. He just puts on an absolute show. So I see he's in town this weekend, pretty late. It was like on Wednesday. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. I'm not going to go alone. So I'm like texting a bunch of people asking if they have any interest, and everyone's saying no. And I text our group chat that Ols, Goffer, and Jude and I are in. And I text those guys asking if they want to go, and no one responds. And then Jude texts me back, like, I think it was Thursday night or Friday even. And he's like, hey, like, I actually kind of want to go to that Kid Rock concert. Like, do you have tickets yet? And I'm like, no, like, but that's great. Let's go. And he's like, yeah, don't get any tickets. I'll figure it out for us. Because Brett lives in Nashville and is friends with all those guys. So we show up to the concert. I'm asking Jude, like, we're all wondering where our seats are. There's 4 of us there. And we're like, where are our seats? He's like, I don't know, but I mean, it's got to be pretty good. You know, kid got them for us. So we walk up to Will Call. Yeah, we'll take our tickets. They're like, okay, here's your passes. They give us these lanyards. It says Kid Rock, friends and family. So we're like, we're in. Let's go.
Thanks, Mr. Rock.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rock. So we go downstairs in the friends and family section and, you know, get free drinks and food the whole night and watch a concert. It was an unbelievable time. And then That was Saturday, and then Sunday, Josty actually got me tickets to the Colorado Kings game. So thank you, Josty. If you listen to this, probably won't because you're a big timer.
The Colorado Kings game?
Sorry, the Wild Kings game. I'm
Wow.
thinking of Jostie's Day Ave. But yeah, so it was kind of an eventful weekend when I had planned on really doing nothing. So
Those are always the best.
yeah, it was great. Didn't see it coming, but obviously something over the weekend happened. No one in this room really likes what happened. Only one guy in here likes what happened. So Matt played at Denver, obviously, won a national championship there, and he's, now Denver University has surpassed North Dakota and tied first place in national championships all time in NCAA. So I did kind of want to bring that up because you obviously have experienced what it's like there after this happens. So I just wanted to ask you, what's it like to Denver as a university when you guys win that championship? When you get back,
oh, it's
what
awesome.
goes on?
Yeah, what places are you going to? Let's get the whole shindig.
So I guess we'll go back to when we won it. So we won it in Chicago, which is pretty awesome. And so, do you want me to pass this over?
Yeah, please.
So we won it in Chicago. And so we were at the United Center. We were actually in the Hawks locker room, which was pretty sick. And
Yeah, one seed, no big deal.
and so I think we played Notre Dame the first night, and we kind of waxed them a little bit. I think it was like 7-0 or something like that. And so that it was a good game for us.
Standard NCHC Big Ten action.
I know, right? Well, they were Hockey East at the time. But,
never mind.
We'll cut them a little bit of slack. But so then we played Duluth in the final, and that was it was obviously kind of a crazy game because. So Jared Lucas-Savages had that hat trick in I think it was the second period. And so we were up like 3-1, I think. And then they scored and made 3-2. And so it was really tight at the end. And then, to be honest, I don't know how you guys felt when you're in Tampa, but I barely remember the game itself.
Nothing.
It flies by.
Dude, nothing. My actual memory of that game is nothing.
Oh, dude.
I only remember what I watched on YouTube after.
Yes.
I remember a small part of the game because I wasn't playing.
Yeah, same.
And in the championship game, I didn't play the last 13 minutes because I had taken that penalty against you guys the night before, the 2 days before. So I sat my ass on the bench for the last 13 minutes of that game, and I remember it because Joel Janatoinen got a penalty.
Yep.
And I had to give him my helmet while he was his helmet broke.
Yeah.
So I had to take my helmet off, give it to him. And he's got a big ass fucking melon. And I wore his helmet the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I'm shaking that. I put it on the smallest thing. I'm shaking. I think you can see videos of me shaking my head on the.
Every time the puck goes by on the broadcast, you're
Oh, yeah. Just jerking off with 12 minutes to go in the game. It's I get it.
At least you got to throw it up in the air after.
Oh, yeah.
So I was our sixth defenseman. So Blake Hillman and I played together. And Blake had played pretty consistent shift, and him and I would play together. And then second period hit, it was tight. I don't remember what happened, but anyway, I wasn't playing all that much. And then third period comes around, and we're winning, game's tight, whatever. And I'm cold, my legs, you could touch them and they probably felt like ice. And Tarek Hammond goes down. He's going to get a puck or something happened, and he breaks his ankle, just gruesome. I felt horrible for the guy. And so he goes off the ice, and coach is comes up right behind me. I'm sitting there, whatever. David Carl comes up and he's like, Matty, you got to play. I'm like, oh shit, I got to play. And I hadn't had a shift in, 20 minutes. I'm cold. And so I go out there and I'm trying to get into the game. And I think first shift, they get a grade A scoring chance. I come back to the bench and DC's like, Matty, come on, man. I'm I'm sorry. So I got it together. I had a couple more shifts just to get us into eat minutes to get through. And then we got to the end of the game where I didn't have to play anymore. They just relied on Butchie and Planter and, and Hilly and Michael Davies. And we got through it. And so then obviously we're celebrating at the end and doing the whole thing and all that. And I think they kicked us off the ice because they're like, you guys got to go. We got a game tomorrow. Like the Hawks did. So they kicked us off the ice. We get in the locker room. We're celebrating. They come in again. They're like, you guys got to leave. Like we got a game to get ready for. So they kicked us out. And we got back to the hotel and it was just like packed and it was a big party. And so I think we partied there till like 3 a.m. And in Chicago, the bars are open till like 5. So we went out to the bars afterwards. And, it was a bit of a blur. And then, so we get back and we were lucky where we had a private jet out the next day at like noon, which was perfect. So everyone slept in, we all got breakfast, whatever. We get on the plane. Matty Marcineau is sitting there with a trash bag the whole flight, just puking into it. he is hurting. Everyone else is like leaning
Matty
back in the
Marcineau.
jet, and Marty is sitting there just like chundying in this bag. And so when we got back, it was a Sunday, and I think most of the people there, I think they burnt a couch on like University, and they did the whole party, and we got there, and so people were pretty beat up from the night before. So we ended up going to the bar that night, and it was mostly the guys and then a few stragglers.
What's
that
the
came
bar
on.
you're going to? Like, what's the go-to bar?
Go-to bar is C&G, which is kind of like the local, our camp, one of our campus bars. So we went there, and then basically for like the next 2 weeks, that trophy, I mean, you guys probably know, is like a wooden credit card.
Yeah.
Like you just walk in anywhere and it's immediately like drinks and shots and food, like whatever you want. And so we were just kind of parading that around. So like we'd take it to C&G. Everyone kind of had like their own night where they'd take it home and sleep with the trophy and whatever. And then like we went to a Rockies game. After that, we went out downtown and had a time. So we did just kind of like the typical stuff. It was fun because we were in a big city. And Denver's like obviously a major sports market, but it's kind of like a small, big sports market. Yeah. So like it was a big deal for, a lot of the people in the city. So, it was just parading around, just having a good time. Right.
Love that. That's good shit.
Yeah, it was fun. And so our coaches were pretty good about, I know in years past with the trophy, they gave you a little bit of time and then they put it in the trophy case, but Monty was very much like, nah, you guys get this thing for like a month.
Monty was cool that way.
Yeah, he was cool that way. So we basically just like the honor code, if you have the trophy, just make sure it doesn't get lost. I want to say we had it at one of our houses for a party, and I think some girl broke her finger with the trophy because she went to pick it up and like kind of dropped it on the table and it just shattered her finger. And we were all like, all right, here we go. And so that was kind of, it was just a lot of fun. Like when that month, or I guess for the rest of the year, because we do at Denver, we have the quarter system instead of like your semester. And so we carry on until like June, which in Denver is like prime weather. So we're outside in like 70-degree sunny weather for like the whole spring quarter.
Oh, you got to be still celebrating just the entire time you're still at school.
The entire time, and the teachers are all for it, right? Because it's a big deal when you do it, because it's a lot of
publicity,
ton of publicity, and that in turn that brings more people that want to go to the school and whatever. So all that was good. We actually, my senior class, we had 10 guys. By my senior year, we had 10 guys that had stayed, and so a kid on our team's parents had a condo in Hawaii, and so he was like, I think we do a senior trip. And
who was it? Which guy was this?
Brad Hawkinson.
Is he in the CIA right now or something?
No,
wasn't he trying to do that like Russia?
No, so he's a pilot in the Air Force.
Yeah,
Air Force or Navy, I can't remember. And so he's in pilot school right now, and I think he's about to get deployed, or not deployed overseas, but he's going to figure out where he's stationed. And so anyway, so his parents had a place out in Hawaii. And he's like, yeah, we can go, we can stay there, so we went for 10 days, and it was just the boys in Hawaii for 10 days.
Sounds terrible.
And it was unbelievable. And so we basically just had to tell our teachers like, hey, we're going to go on this trip, so we're not going to be here for 10 days. Can you like cut us a break on our, classes and homework or whatever? They're like, yeah, no problem. Just as long as you get it done by the end of the quarter, like we're all good with that.
Yeah.
And so we got our stuff done and got to enjoy a trip out of it. So it was a fun spring quarter.
Did Butchie get to go out there with you guys, or was he kind of, because he was Did he sign right after the season or no? Because
So he was drafted by Colorado, and
they didn't sign him.
No, they didn't sign him. And so he went to like free agency, and so he got to stay for the whole thing, and then he got to kind of pick where he wanted to go play, and so it was nice because he got to spend that extra time with us and whatever, which was good.
Butchie was one of my best friends in Ann Arbor. We were on the team, and the guy has like a ton of hockey players have skill and talent, and I mean Butch has some skill and talent, but nowhere near the talent and skill you need to like be as good as he is. Mm-hmm. His hockey mind and his IQ is just, it's out the roof. Like it's insane how well he thinks the game, and he knows 5 seconds before what he's doing with the puck before he gets it. Like every play. It's insane.
And his shot isn't like a heavy shot or anything, but everything he shoots gets through. And it was always like, I mean, he had he had like 40 points that year as a D-man.
Oh, he's a Hobie Baker.
Yeah, he's a Hobie Baker winner, obviously. But yeah, he was just like, everything got through. He like never made mistakes. I think in the 4 years that I played with him, there was one game where he just had a bad game and got sat. And I think he was like sick with like the flu and whatever. So it was like everyone understood. But it was like, besides that guy played like a perfect college career.
He literally did. Every game he played was just... I always used to like watching him, even when he was on my team. I'd just stare at him on the ice and count how many just bad play, like not the right play.
Yeah.
That he would make. I mean, there are many games where I couldn't count one.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you do that? I'm counting myself. I think my average game was like 12, not the right play. And then I'm watching him. I'm like, I can't fucking find anything that he's doing wrong.
Yeah. Always in the right spot. So yeah, and he was a good leader too. I think he kind of was one of those guys that grew a lot from freshman year to senior year, because he was a little bit quiet freshman year. And then, what was cool that we had out in Denver is we would do at the end of the year, or towards the end of the year, kind of when after Christmas, when we were starting to get into kind of like playoff mode and playoff season, we'd always do this kind of like big review of all the guys on our team. And so like guys would sit in the middle of the room in like the hot seat, and everyone could just say whatever they wanted about that guy. Right. And, most of it was like constructive and whatever. And freshman year, he got kind of called out for just not being around the guys and whatever. And he took it to heart. And, by the end of it, that guy was always around. And it wasn't like he was going out and just getting hammered and whatever, but like he was showing up and he was being around the guys and being a part of the group. And, once he started doing that, that helped our culture a ton, because it was like, we have this legit player who wants to be around us and sticks around. And it was, it paid dividends, I think, in the long run.
It just goes to show, like, you can be a really good player, but that personal aspect and hanging out with the guys and being with them and being a part of them goes so far. And I mean, if Butch is the same guy he is freshman year as he is senior year when he's captain, I mean, do you guys even win the national championship? Maybe not. No, I mean,
Butchie could have left too, right? Yeah. And that would have completely changed our team, because he was he's the biggest part of our team. Obviously, he won the Hobie Baker, and, he was, he's a great leader, and, we were pretty fortunate to have him. And you guys know, you played at a, great program. It all comes down to the culture and carrying on that tradition through the alumni and everything. And that's
for sure.
You guys have seen it. You guys won national championships, so you understand. It's, it's much more than just the 1 year. It's everything that leads up to it that makes the difference. So,
yeah, I mean, that's what's cool about having you here, just playing at Denver. Not that all the other schools aren't great in their own sense. It's just, I feel Denver does have that tradition and culture that, just like North Dakota, when you're playing there, you're worried about how you do, but you're also like in the back of your mind, you're like, I have to carry on this tradition of like this school doing what it did, year after year. That pressure's on me now. And I gotta set in stone and set the example for the next guys that are coming after me. So, and I know a ton of schools are building that right now. It's just not up to where North Dakota and Denver are. And, But it's pretty cool that you guys thought about that. Let's get into our hypotheticals now.
Love this.
Absolutely.
So obviously the first one's based off the last weekend. Let's do all of our Masters dinners. So what you would choose for your Masters dinner if you won the Masters? Okay, we'll just go appetizer, main on-course, dessert.
Okay.
Does anyone want to start us off?
Not me. Not this time.
I guess the guest will speak.
Yeah, fire away.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll start with the appetizer. And I'm taking this out of Hideki's playbook. Assorted sushi
Yeah.
is
Hideki?
incredible, especially at the Masters.
Yeah.
Like, they're not getting some cheap Target stale sushi.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting the good. Like, you're having some chef come in with some nice stuff.
Okay, let's touch on Hideki's meal this year. Has there ever been a better meal?
I don't think so.
They released that meal and everyone's like, "This is elite."
I was
unbelievable.
salivating reading it.
Yeah.
So are we going appetizers all the way around? Or are we doing...
Yeah. Let's go appetizers all the way around. So we got assorted sushi.
Okay, I'm going to go with... Fuck. I'm going with... Oh, no. I didn't think this through very well, but I'm going to go with cream cheese wontons.
I'm not against it.
I'm not against it either. I had that this weekend.
Yeah, dude, they're fucking good, man.
Yeah.
That shit just melts in your mouth. I don't know why, but it's the first thing that came to mind, and I'm going to go with it.
Mine's going to be a little weird. I'm just going to preface mine with there will be no fruit and no salad in my meal because I don't
No
fuck
chance.
with fruit or salad.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
But for the appetizer, I'm going to go for like a southern kind of meal because that's what I kind of like to eat. So I'm going pulled pork sliders for this appetizer.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. I like
That's
that.
a great play.
There it is. My appetizer is going to be crab cakes.
Nice. God, is that smart?
Crab
Yeah,
cakes
just
is
some
football.
crab cakes, easy appetizer. And I feel, obviously crab cakes it's hit or miss, but the master chefs, they're hitting.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good crab cake.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so I put you asked for starters, but I won't go there. So the main. So I went to Germany over Christmas because my best buddy plays in Ingolstadt over in the German Dell,
Yep.
and he really introduced me to German food while I was over there. And holy shit, do they cook a good meal? And so I got pork schnitzels with mushroom cream sauce with a spätzle, which is like a potato like noodle. And broccoli. This is out of left field, but I shit you not. When you have one of these, you're going to I don't even know how to describe it, but you're going to love it.
You're going to shoot your shorts.
Yes, exactly. Once or
That
twice.
sounds fucking delicious.
It was really
I'm a huge foodie. I love food, especially shitty food for me. So,
So we all.
but all food, I rarely say no to any kind of food. So that sounds delicious. I'm going to go with just a simple filet,
Yep.
but I need mac and cheese on the side.
Little family port, like it's in a big
Yeah.
plate where you all help you
Yeah.
help your own. So like if you're really like the girls can take half a scoop and then you can take 3 scoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm eating the entire side.
Yeah.
Because I love mac and cheese. I can eat a full Kraft dinner
Yeah.
in 30 seconds.
You got a plate of mac and cheese with the side of
Yeah.
steak.
Yeah. And then, I guess I'll throw in some green beans in there too. I like green beans. They're a nice twist. So
I'm right with you. I said prime rib with mac and cheese, carrots,
nice.
green beans,
Yeah.
all that.
Love that.
Yep.
I was gonna go with a ribeye,
Yep.
medium rare, obviously. And then I was gonna have broccolini on the side.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is between broccolini and broccoli.
I think it's
I
just,
just-
longer.
Yeah, it's longer, and I just feel more wealthy and rich when I eat broccoli.
It's higher end.
It's like if I'm eating broccoli, I'm like I might be middle class, but broccolini, like I might be a millionaire. I don't know. And then, just a side of maybe scalloped or mashed potatoes.
Nice. Yeah.
I was almost going to throw scalloped potatoes in mine too.
But I'm
Cheesy scalloped potatoes.
I actually like your pick a little more because I'm just going straight American tradition here.
I was gonna do like this whole Mexican taco bit, but it's the Masters, so like, you have to be a little classier.
I was on the same page as you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be honest. I sat here and probably thought about this for an hour.
Oh, this was the toughest one. I was like, what would I I would be panicking if I actually won the Masters. If I was Scotty Scheffler sitting here right now, he won the Masters, 2 days ago? I'd be sitting here like, fuck, what am I going to pick for dinner next year?
It's going to throw his game off all year.
Didn't somebody have chicken tenders or something?
I'm sure it's been done.
Yeah, I think it has. Like, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but when you're at the Masters, you got to have like a high end meal.
Oh, yeah.
Like throwing chicken tenders on there. Yeah. That's kind of a pigeon move.
What are we going for desserts?
Okay, dessert.
I just had your classic chocolate sundae. Like, really? So like when we were on the road and you'd be like, I don't know, in like Miami of Ohio, you're at the hotel, you eat your dinner, and then you go up and they have just like those cheap like styrofoam cups with like chocolate sundaes in it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe you guys don't.
Oh yeah.
Those were the cheapest, but the best. And so I'd do that.
That's nice. I'm staying on the classy side, but I want like 4 slices of cheesecake.
Yep.
Raspberry chocolate drizzled cheesecake. You can
like maybe like thin slices of each flavor. On the plate.
Yeah, those can be inserted in me.
Yeah.
For mine, I actually picked 2 desserts. So one's the actual dessert, and then one's like the after dessert. So the first dessert's like a chocolate cookie bar with some ice cream and fudge, like a little sundae.
Yeah.
But then got to get some cigars out, steaks and stogies. Got to do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
That's the real dessert.
Yeah. Okay. I had a little oddball just because I like standing out. I was going Oreos and milk.
Oh.
Everyone knows,
double stuff or regular?
Double stuff. Yeah. You bring out those double stuffs, and they're not going to be in the packaging. They'll probably be brought out on a plate, maybe even, fried a little bit. I don't know, like a little different. But then you got the milk, and you're dipping it in there, and everyone's like, what the fuck is this? And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, I like Oreos and milk.
Were you ever a guy that took like cookies and cream ice cream, dumped it into a cup, and then put a bunch of milk in it, mixed it up to make like a Oreo milkshake?
I never truly did that myself, but
That's a sin.
I have had that.
Yeah.
I have had that, and it's not really a sin. It's great.
No, I'm saying it's a sin that you've never done that on your own.
You do it often.
Oh, fuck yeah. And then I ladle chocolate syrup in there as well.
You're only going chocolate syrup. I would grab the caramel bottle out of the fridge and just
that's nice.
put some caramel in there.
That's so nice. I love that you brought up Oreos. First time I ever smoked. I don't know if this is, I don't really give a shit. But first time I ever smoked, I ate a full 3 racks.
I remember
Then deleted, gone. What is that, like 18,000 calories?
I remember one of the first times I had smoked, coming down after watching Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan highlights for 2 hours.
Yep.
Coming down or whatever, and I have this full can of Jiffy peanut butter, and all I remember was watching
Just you and the dog.
watching TV at the end of all I remember was watching TV, and I'm looking at this fucking Jiffy bottle where I had like a spoon. It wasn't even a knife, and it was empty. I had ate a full Jiffy bottle of peanut butter in one sitting, just watching TV. I was like, oh, this is so good. Just eating peanut butter from a spoon.
I was sitting there and I threw gummy bears in my mouth because I was laying on the floor for 3 hours. Also, Trevor, do you want to know how many calories you had?
Yeah, I do.
1,908.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Full 3 racks of them bitches. Oh. Brings me back to the calorie challenge with General Patton up at North Dakota. This is the best thing in the world.
We might have to bring that up, okay? This is... So at North Dakota, we What day? It was on like a Sunday.
It's after Hell Week or whatever. It's after all that shit.
So we do all our training and stuff, and then so at North Dakota, before we go out on the ice, there was one guy, whoever was designated that guy, or whoever claimed it that year, would shout out like, Olson's got the first one tonight, like before the game.
Yeah.
Olson's got the first goal tonight. And everyone would be like, whoa. Well, we're all like, we get done with our training and we're doing this McDonald's challenge. Like, we're all going to McDonald's, we're all going to sit down, and McDonald's has all the calories put on everything that you eat. So we're all counting our calories. Whoever gets the most gets their meal for free. So we're all just pushing ourselves. You know, we're going there to try to push ourselves to eat as much as we can. And before we leave, we're all heading over. Like, we basically pre-gamed it at an apartment. We're all like pumped up, like, let's go. We're going to McDonald's. Let's go. And Wade Murphy screams out like, Gordy's got the first burger. We all started dying laughing. Like, what are we doing? I remember me and Tomer got in a battle in that. Me and Keaton Thompson, and we got in a battle over calories. We're trying to beat each other. We're going back up, ordering more. And we're both in the McDonald's bathroom over the toilet, like, like about to puke up like 4 pounds of food.
I think we had a challenge in Denver. I don't know. We never did this, but it was talks of, I think it was a 30 rack of beer between two guys, a full Domino's pizza, and like a Taco Bell, like taco box. And who could do that the fastest without puking?
I'd delete it.
Oh my God. That is.
The Domino's pizza and the Taco Bell wouldn't last 10 minutes, and that's a promise.
But it's the 30 beers.
Yeah.
Those 15 beers you got to put down before.
And it's like Natty Light too. Or I guess we had Keystone out in Colorado. So
yeah, we were big Busch Light guys.
Yeah.
Wasn't a bad
Keystone.
thing. Yeah, Keystone. That was my brother's drink of choice back in high school when I used to go pick him up from the parties. Yeah. Be hammered on Keystone.
You know what I liked about Keystone was their can. It was a little slimmer than the rest.
Yep.
A little harder on top. Yeah,
Easier to grip.
Yeah, just you felt like you had a big hand gripping this Keystone.
It's the best beer darts can.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Most indestructible.
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so what's your process on when someone random follows you? Meaning, like, how do you determine if you follow them back or not?
Oh, it's a tough one. Well, so my Instagram now.
And this can go back. Like, obviously, we're all in different. Like, someone random follows me now. It's like, fuck out of here. I don't know you.
Yeah.
But back in the day, you're like, you know, in college or high school, you're like, oh, who's this following me?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, you do your research, right? Like, they follow you. You gotta dig in and see. And so you check out the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter. At the time, there was no TikTok or anything. So, I mean, if it was, God, my girlfriend's gonna hate me for this, but like, if it was a girl, it's like, okay, you're looking into it, probably falling back. If it was a guy, you're like, I don't know, maybe. Like, if you know him, you're like, all right, yeah, I'll give him the fall back. But if you don't, you're like,
Yeah, I'll say if it's a guy that follows, if there's, first off, I'll just try and recognize the name. Like, have I met this guy before?
Look at some.
Did I meet this guy at a party or something? Whatever it might be. If that doesn't come through, then I'll see if they're following, you know, a bunch of my buddies.
Yep.
And if that's the case, then I'll give them the follow.
Yep.
If not, and like it's private, then I'll go to like a Facebook, whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, nowadays I actually switched my thing to private.
Yep.
Recently, I don't know why. I just whatever. You know, I got a gal. Things are closed off. Get the fuck out of here, kind of thing.
Yep.
But I'd say if a gal followed me in college, there was a 98% chance I was following her back without any research.
Within a minute, right? You're sitting there on your phone, you're clicking it right away. Fall back.
Excuse me,
You
who's
don't even
this?
look at the profile. just
Shelves,
see
I
the-
love you. Shelves, I love you. I love you so much.
Nowadays, you get like the 18-year-old and whatever, like follow my OnlyFans account. You're like, probably should follow that one back.
Yeah.
I'll probably pass there.
Nowadays, I kick them to the side. But yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna.
that was my process.
Yeah, I mean that's it's if it's a guy, you click on him. You either go if he's private, it's like probably not following you. Then I don't know who you are. If you can see his pictures, you see someone like he's with, and then like some guys follow him. You're like, I feel should probably follow him back, and then you text your buddies like, hey, like, so you follow this guy, like, what do you think? I don't even know that guy. I don't know that guy. I'm like, fuck, I already follow this guy. Now I gotta unfollow him.
They're private. You give them the follow back. You look at them and then see unfollow.
But that was like the girl. That was like the girl thing on Instagram. Like, if a girl follows you and you click on her account, like, who the hell's this? And then you click on her account and it's private. You're like, well, what the hell? But then they got the Visco page there, which is just their same Instagram page, just on a different platform.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you private
Yeah.
when you want me to see all your pictures on Visco? So obviously you click on that Visco page and scroll like, oh, yeah, probably deserves a follow. I don't know.
And then they baited you and they unfollow you. You just got a free follow out of it.
Yeah, you always check back in like a week later, see if they're still following you. Like, go through their following. Like, they're still following me. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Cool. We're good. The one I get a lot now is the Forex traders.
Dude,
I get that all the
time.
I was gonna touch on those guys. Like, they all have what 18K, 20K followers, posting these like it seems like almost every one of them posts pictures like when they're on a yacht and like at some club, like with their arms wide open,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Forex trading, crypto, Forex. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna follow you. And then I see that you sent a DM in my request saying like, hey, Gage, like, no, not Gage. I don't want to talk to you, man. Like, I'm not gonna fucking give you my money.
Mace?
So I kind of, it's not set in stone or anything, but it's kind of like a flow chart for me. So number one, is it a bot?
Yeah.
Because I don't know why, but like, especially recently, I've been getting so many bots that followed me.
Yeah.
I've had like 7 in the past 3 days, and I haven't even posted in like, since the pond hockey tournament.
Yeah.
And then second, do I know them or not? Check with my homies, see if they know them, whatever. And then third, is it a chick or a dude? Is it a chick? If it's bad, is she bad? I'm following her. But
Well,
No questions asked. Like,
No questions asked.
I mean, she's got to be like in the state, in the area. I mean, I'm not just gonna follow someone from California.
And I was kind of like basing this question off like when you were in college, like not in some full-time relationship,
I love you, Shelby, so much.
when you're getting that random follow in college, you have no idea who the chick is. Like, you're just like, oh, like, yeah, I'll follow her. And then you're just like, hopefully, if she likes one of my pics, I'm going to like one of hers.
And then she likes one back.
Then the games begin.
And so how many likes does it take you guys? Like, so if you were to get a random follow in college and then she likes one of yours, you like one of hers, and she likes you back, like, to me, that's an automatic, I'm in. Like, I can DM.
The door's open.
I feel like
You don't want to send out that random DM where, like, you don't know if they're going to respond, like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Oh, it's 2:30 a.m.
if they like one or two pictures, like, oh, I'll think that's like an accident or something. We'll blow it off, whatever. But if they're like in 3 or more, like, I'm hitting them with a like or two back and see what happens.
The worst is when you're like doing your research, right? And you're going down, you're deep into their timeline, and then you accidentally like one, like from 2 years ago, and then you panic unlike it, but
You
they get
unlike it,
notified.
but they get the notification that you liked a picture from 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we'll move on. Okay, now this kind of plays off the last one. How many unanswered texts or DMs can be sent to you, or do you feel? We'll go first. The first one will be can be sent to you before you're like, okay, like I might need to block.
Yeah.
I may need to do something. The other side of it is how many unresponse texts or DMs do you feel comfortable sending to someone without being like, I'm kind of being a weirdo right now?
Oh, it's a tough one.
I know. I think like,
Are we talking college days or now?
no, I'm talking more. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not getting any more of those ridiculous
Yeah.
DMs. I don't think any of us are. And I'm not sending them. But back in the day, like, I don't know if I ever sent that many to like with no answer, but I did get some from weird ass people, you know, that
Yeah.
wouldn't stop messaging. And it's like, I might want to stop this.
I feel like you guys, it was a little bit different for you guys because you guys have a crazy following at North
Yeah.
Dakota, right? Where like you guys are more of like a professional team in a sense where, you know, like you're selling out your building 13,000 fans every game and you guys are like the big ticket on campus, which like we were a big ticket on campus, but we're not having like the crazy following like you guys did.
Yeah.
So I could see where you guys probably get, I don't want to say heckled a little bit more, but you have people that are, you know,
For
more
sure, that's-
involved with, you know, what you guys are doing.
That's just what you get with Grand Forks. I mean, you're in Denver. There's plenty of other things to do for those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
If you're in Grand Forks, there's really only one thing for you to root for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the university, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is an interesting question because I don't know. I feel like
And it doesn't happen. It doesn't have to happen to you either. Like,
Yeah.
if it's never happened to you, that's fine. I'm just saying, what's your line on like when? If it's never happened to you, that's fine. I just want you to give your opinion on if it did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say I was like pretty active on like stories or whatever. So if like somebody posted like a funny story, I'd say something, whether it was a like or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily say I was like trying to dive in, you know. I was just kind of like whatever. So that's a tough question. I'm going to go with first off, if somebody's sending me, I respond to everything.
Yeah.
So if somebody's sending me, you know, 3 messages
well,
and I'm not answering, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, here's the question: is how many do you? So say you see this girl on Instagram in college or high school, and you're like, I kind of want her to give me some attention.
Yeah.
How many do you feel comfortable sending without a response before you're like, I'm gonna abort mission here?
2.
It's got.
I'd be 2 or
maybe-
3.
yeah,
2 or
yeah.
3 is probably my range. I mean, if you're sending 4 or 5, 6,
it depends on what the type is. Like if you're replying to a story saying like, oh, like that's funny, or you know, oh wow, you're there tonight. It's a little different than an unsolicited, like no response to a story or picture, just hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And then a week later, hey, what's up? And then a week later,
see, I don't know if I do that.
That's
no,
not.
you'd never do it. Yeah. But even the story part, like if you're just being a normal guy, like they post a funny story, you're like, that was good. Next week, like I like that. Or you're commenting on something in the story, like talking about something they're doing, like, oh, you're there, like you got to get this.
But even then, I feel kind of weird, right?
You do,
Like
you do.
Yeah. So
And you're just being normal.
And you're being normal, but then it feels weird. Like I'm, you know, I'm just trying to like be nice. Literally, that's all. Like I thought that shit was funny, and then you don't really get a response, and it's like
And now they're on a podcast talking about me DMing them without no response.
Well, I feel like if you're inquiring and you send them something, no response, and then you poke them again, no response, then it's like, okay, you got to be out.
Yeah.
Now, if you message them and you're getting a little bit back, and then you know you ask to hang out, and they kind of come up with an excuse, and then you poke them again to try to hang out, and then they still come up with an excuse, then it's like, okay, after 2 times, they're probably not interested, you know, and they're probably thinking like a little bit of creeper vibes would be my thought behind it, but I don't know.
Mace, what are you going with here?
For me messaging someone, it all depends if like you can see if they've seen it or not. So if they like, if it does show that it's seen, I'm going 2, but if it doesn't, I'm going 3 because you never know if they have actually looked at it or not. But that being said, not like once a week or whatever. That'd be like 2 the first day, what's up, and then 1 the next day.
Yeah, if you're going multiple in the same day, no response, like hey in the morning, and then like a hey what's up at night, and you got nothing back, then you should probably just
okay. So
get out.
So here's another question: how often did you send an unsolicited like DM out there throughout your time? Just no reason, like you send a DM to someone, hey, what's up?
In college, especially, many. Unsolicited, many. I'll just be honest with you.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's what I was expecting to hear.
Yeah, but I guess, like, through my process of, like, when I moved to Orlando, none.
Yeah.
You know? And then moved back home, and then, you know, the dating apps and all that shit kind of came to be through the later years or whatever.
Instagram's got to be the best dating app in the world.
It's unused, yes. Yeah. But it's weird too. Like, that's kind of how Shelby and I met. We met on Hinge when I was still in Duluth. My plan was to go back to Orlando or whatever, and that didn't end up happening. I decided to be done with hockey, and then I was like, okay. That's when I deleted my North Dakota Instagram or whatever, the one I had then, and I just restarted basically all my social medias except Twitter because I'm hilarious on there. But
Twitter,
you know,
Twitter is still a low-key gem.
It might be the best social media.
Yes, agreed.
It's my favorite.
It is.
It's my entertainment. Like,
yes,
guys go home and either watch TV or do whatever hobby they like, and like, there'll be plenty of nights where I go home and I'm like, I'm going to watch a TV show tonight. And I'll turn it on, and then all of a sudden I'll just find myself sitting on the couch, scrolling Twitter, commenting on people's things. And all of a sudden I'm like, why did I even start this episode? I haven't watched this second.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so we met on Hinge or whatever, and then I deleted some stuff, whatever. I ended up deleting the dating apps. But I had followed her and gotten her number or whatever from Hinge. Well, a year later, I had moved down here, and I had followed her on my new Instagram or whatever, and I threw an unsolicited DM at her.
And it works if it's Michael Scott.
You miss
100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky.
Michael Scott. No, it ended up working out, obviously, but yeah, I'd say in college I sent out.
Well, that's what I kind of want to get. That's what I want to get to is like guys who are listening to this, maybe thinking about unsolicited DMing girls they like, or what are we to tell them to do? You know, like I think you send one for sure. Like, you should feel comfortable sending one for sure. And my advice is, if you're going to send a DM, don't just start it off with, hey, what's up? Yeah. Maybe reply to a story saying like, hey, oh, cool shoes, or
that's a
good spot.
That's a very good point. You know, I don't want to butt in because but when I wasn't the fucking ladies man, right? Like I was a funny guy and whatever, and you know, so I got friend zoned quite a bit. Like, you know, it was the way it was. Like my freshman year, I didn't play a whole lot of hockey games, so like I stayed back and I hung out with the girlfriends of the guys on the team or whatever. So like that was me just like being a friend, yada yada. But that kind of transitioned in how I talked to girls that I was interested in.
Yeah, because you don't want to scare them off.
You don't want to scare them off, but then if you don't do anything either. You're just kind of stuck there, and then it's like, you know,
Yeah, that's so true.
you're a buddy.
No, you do nothing. Nothing happens. It sucks to talk about it like it's a game.
Yeah.
Like it's a game to like wheel girls or talk to them, and it's not. I mean, it is kind of a game, but it's also like there's strategical ways. It's like when you watch the movie Hitch.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, Hitch sets guys up with girls, like it's terrible." But it's like he's just telling these guys how to be confident and to talk to these girls. And do
What's
the right thing.
what's the white guy's name in that movie? I'm that guy. Q-tip guy. What's his name? Anybody Bueller?
Oh my gosh! I know it's on the top of my fucking tongue.
We'll get back to it. Anyway, I'm the
I
chubby
feel like
white guy in that movie.
a lot of it comes with you need a connection with the person too.
Yeah.
So like if you've met them in person before, in whatever you have that attraction or whatever the case may be, then it's a little bit easier to reach out to them too and probably have some success. Because I feel like nowadays girls don't want to be solicited by a random person that
No.
they don't know,
Yeah.
because they're probably getting solicited by random people all the time.
Yeah.
And it comes back to like, I don't know, I'm in sales, right? And you know, this is kind of weird, I guess, but they, you know, like people I work with, they want to work with somebody they like, know, and trust, right? It's like a girl, if they don't know you and they don't have that relationship, well, how are they supposed to like you and trust you? You know,
Well, I mean, relationships are sales, though. Like
they are, yeah.
In the long run, I feel
Yes.
like this conversation can go two ways, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're, you know, young. That's creepy. I don't like that. I hate paranormal activity. That door just fucking opened and I'm out, dude. Cancel it. We're done. I'm going home. No, I think there's two different alleys, right? You see the long haul with somebody,
Yeah.
or the short game. Short game usually happens when you've had a few beverages and you take a shot. Jesus H fucking hell. I figured it out. Scared the absolute shit out of me.
Hey, we got some visitors on the pod
JJ
tonight.
twins making an appearance. Yeah, I doubt that.
Paranormal activity.
Yeah. Well, the door creaked open and I can't see it from my peripherals. Yeah, please.
You should just lock it because of these feisty crowd.
There's no lock.
Sorry about that. We had the JJ twins drop by and say hello. Obviously, I thought it was a ghost. Scared the absolute piss out of me. And then Mace went out there to check, and he got scared himself. So I don't feel too bad. Yeah, we found him. They came in, said hello. You heard a little bit of it. We paused. You know, can't have too much of that conversation get out there. But that's another 10K podcast. The JJ twins. Feel free to give them a listen. But we were discussing the difference between the long haul direct message, you know, the friend, the trust that you had talked about with being a salesman, you know, in the long haul, a gal will probably want more from you if she knows you.
Yep.
And
The short haul, all it might take is a you up question mark.
yes,
That's when you're feeling risky.
that's really risky. That's like you can't find an Uber from Joe Black's. Like you're partly asking for a ride home.
Yeah.
And
You might be
place
at-
to sleep.
You
You
might
can't
be
make it to your
you
place.
might be asking for a lot of things that late at night when you're like you up. It's like either like you kind of want to play video games with a guy.
Yeah.
Might want to
Oh, we're
watch.
texting guys.
Yeah.
You up?
Well, even a girl like, hey, I'm kind of in the video game mood. None of my buddies will text me back. Do you want to play NHL with me? We can go to sleep after, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think I think there's two ways to go about it. Obviously, everybody's different, but I mean, if you're digging a gal, you might as well feel it out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does depend on who it is you're messaging, what time of day. Obviously, if you've had a couple drinks on a Saturday, it's 7:30, feeling confident, you got that liquid confidence in you.
Yeah.
You might be sending something, but if you're sober, like sitting there on a weekday, and you send one, there's a little more meaning behind that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So it's got to be a little more serious.
Yeah.
But
You better have a good topic to talk about too.
yeah, you gotta
If
come.
you hit them with the you up or what's up, and then you got nothing, you're done. You need to be creative.
Don't expect any reply to, hey, what's up? What are they going to say? Sitting on the couch? Cool, so am I.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go from there?
Have your script ready to go.
Yeah. It's a strategical game, and whether we like it or not, it is a little game.
Yep.
But let's move on. Let's move on to Matt's hockey career, what we're here to talk about. So, Matt, you're actually from kind of Grand Forks, right? Like you grew up there a little bit.
Yeah, so funny. Do you guys have a lot of North Dakota fans who are listeners, I would guess?
Do you think?
Yeah, you think? So, fun fact. So, there's one street in Grand Forks that actually is home to 2 national champions. Myself and Paul Ledoux.
Let's go. That's
So,
epic.
Paul and I actually grew up on the same street, Robertson Court.
Yep.
So, if you go on Washington, you go 17th Avenue South, kind of by the old Lincoln Golf Course. Paul and I, so I was born on that street. Paul moved in when he was pretty young. And so Paul and I knew each other really well as we were growing up. We hung out a lot, played a lot of night games together, ripping around on Razor scooters and all that. And so I knew Paul when he was really young, and I knew Luke pretty well as well because he had come live with him essentially in the summers.
Yeah, a
and hang out and stuff.
little younger than you guys, and Steve
Yep.
was off on his coaching gigs.
Yep, exactly. So I did grow up in Grand Forks. I went to Holy Family Elementary School, little Catholic school, and then I went to Schrader Middle School for 1 year before I moved to the cities because my mom took a job in the cities. So
that's how you got to. So you ended up playing for the Edina Hornets.
yep.
So your parents decide to move from Grand Forks and they go straight to Edina.
Well,
Do you know, like at this point, like what Twin Cities hockey is, or like you're jumping into like probably the best high school in Minnesota?
so let's just say it was planned where I ended up in a sense. So
He was recruited.
we're not going to go there. Recruiting's illegal in the state of Minnesota
These
for
fucking
hockey.
cake eaters.
But so when I was in Grand Forks in the summers, I was playing summer hockey up in Winnipeg. And I played for a team called the Manitoba Moose, if you remember who they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I was playing, not obviously the American League team, but it was a AAA program they had. And so I was going up there for the summer to get, some high level hockey and whatever. And before we were moving to the cities, I was playing with them. We had a tournament or a little, I guess, friendly match with the Minnesota Blades in Fargo, North Dakota, where I think we played them like 3 games that weekend. And we let them know that I was moving down the city. We were looking for a place to play. We'd love to play with the Blades. And they were all for it. They let me join. So I started playing with them and I was having some success. And Roger Sitt, whose son is Michael Sitt, who he played at Boston College.
Yep.
They were, we were kind of deciding on an area to live, and we had a rental in Chanhassen, Minnesota, because when we moved down there, my parents didn't know where we wanted to live, so we didn't buy a house right away. And so we were living there, I was playing with the Blades, and Roger's like, if we can get you a place to rent, would you consider coming to play in Edina and go to school there, whatever? And we knew Edina was a good hockey program, whatever, and I was starting to make my way, and so we decided to do that. And so that's actually how I ended up in Edina. And then, obviously when you're there, you got a little bit of a spotlight on you and it kind of helps with your hockey career. So
Those Minnesota Blades kids, I was a Northern Wing.
Yep.
Those guys were fucking nasty. Like my team was really good.
Yep.
And the Blades would shit on us like 9-2.
Oh, yeah.
Every single game. We had Judd Peterson who went to St. Cloud. We had Andy Walensky, Bulldog, NHLer. We had Josh Erickson, Alaska.
Rozo.
Yeah, Rozo, Alaska kid.
Nail gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could literally go on. Like we had easily 10 Division I players.
Yep.
And the Blades absolutely pooed on us every single time.
From our team, we had a lot of Division I guys as well. Like you can look, like Nick Seeler was playing with us. He's still got an NHL career going. Travis Boyd is obviously with Phoenix or Arizona. Trying to think if there's anybody else who's still playing. But, from that team, we did have a lot of NHL guys. And so it was a good place for me to start, and I think it kind of put my name on the map a little bit, which was nice.
Yeah, you look at some of those AAA teams in the summer, and if you look back on the names, the teams he played with, you're like, holy shit, we had a good team.
Dude, you look back at like the old rosters from when you're in like the Calgary Stampede tournament or like the Winnipeg's Champions Cup, and you see some of the names in there, and you're like, holy crap.
I'll never forget. We did this like Team Minnesota thing or whatever, and we went out to Detroit.
Yep.
And it was like Little Caesars and you know
Honey
some of those teams as well. And I was playing against Vincent Trocheck and like all these guys, and at the time, you know, it was just
Johnny
another
Gaudreau was our age.
Yeah,
I had no idea who he was.
It's just another weekend, and then sure enough, my dad pulls out the old book, you know, and I was going through, and I'm like, NHL. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, the cool one is when you see some of the Canadian teams too, and you see the guys they had, and like you see the Saskatchewan guys that at the time you're like, what the hell is Saskatchewan? Right? And then now they're having like great NHL careers and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's you mentioned the Blades. So the Blades was my kind of they were the team to beat in Minnesota when I was growing up in the springtime and summertime.
Yep.
So there was a team. I played for the Lake Superior Stars.
Yeah. Yep.
Really good team. You know, you had Carson Coleman and Neil Pionk and all.
Ever heard of them?
All the guys that we had a great team, but we could never beat the Blades. The Blades were unbelievable.
Yeah.
So then there's this tournament in Toronto. They invite like so many teams.
Yeah, Prospects Cup is that what it was?
Yeah, the Prospects.
Toronto Prospects. Yeah.
Toronto Prospects. So, anyways, Minnesota wasn't allowed to have any other team other than the Blades.
Yeah.
So the Lake Superior Stars struck a deal with the Blades that we could wear their black jerseys and be called the Blades.
Wow.
And we got to play in the tournament.
Was that Pionk's doing?
Yep.
Yeah, that's smart
Pionk's,
motherfucker.
Scott Pionk.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. Spits maybe 2,000 times a game in the back of the... he spits these like little like pellet-sized white spits.
One of these.
It's the nervous spit, right?
Yeah.
Just always on the ground. But anyways, he gets us in that tournament, and we get into the playoffs. We win like 2 games. If you go into the playoffs, you have to win like 12 games to get to the championship.
We made the championship.
Yeah,
one year.
that's nuts.
We were the 6th or the 15th seed, and we somehow won our way through. I remember in a game we were playing the LA Selects, and they had what was his name? So they had Rocco Grimaldi, and then they had another small guy who was Shane McColgan, who ended up not making the NHL, but he was a great player growing up. He was a little bit of he had a little bit of an attitude on the ice.
That's a fucking team I haven't heard of in forever, but it instantly pops into my mind.
Or maybe it wasn't the LA Selects. It was a different select, something anyway. But it was a superstar squad from all over the U.S. Like if you probably looked at that roster, there'd be a lot of NHL guys on it. And we ended up beating them. They were like the 1 seed or 2 seed or something like that. And I remember Shane McColgan took his stick, like the knob end, and just javelin through it at Seth Ambrose and just smoked him in the back. And we're all like, we're like, what, 12, 13 years old? Yeah. And we're like, this guy is crazy. And then, we somehow worked our way through that tournament. We lost in the final to one of the Toronto teams who I don't even remember who was on the roster, but you could probably look on there and see some big names too.
Yeah, but those tournaments are so funny when you look at the teams, and like the Lake Superior Stars, we would played the Blades so many times. We had beat them a few times, but lost probably. Our record was probably 11-2 against them. Yeah. But anyways, we recruited 2 or 3 guys that were really good to play on our team for that tournament. Yeah. And crazy enough, in the playoffs, like 4th or 5th round in this playoffs, we end up playing the other Blades. The Blades we played 15 times in Minnesota. Yeah. And we end up beating them like 5-4. And we got blown out the next game because we didn't care. We just beat the Blades, wearing their jerseys. We were so pumped.
That's such a slap in the face, too, right? They bunch of northern boys.
Yeah, they get us into the tournament, and then we end their tournament. Then we're like, fuck it. We'll just get dominated in the next game.
Did you guys ever... Do you remember the Predators at all?
Oh, yeah. I played a little bit with the Predators.
Who was the big fucker on St. Cloud? Dunning.
Dunnick. Craig
Dunnick. Craig Dunnick.
He had the hardest shot.
Dude, we were 12 years old. This guy's 6'4", and he just hammers slap shots, dude. It was actually fucked.
I remember seeing him because I played at like a bunch of tournaments. He played on our Blades team.
Yeah.
A couple like for a while, and I remember him. He scored a couple goals from the far blue line, just slap shots, top shelf, and the goalie's face when he would do that was like, it was like he saw a dead person. It would come in so hot.
How do you stay playing goalie after that? Like, what are you doing in there?
He
You're
ended
like,
kids'
what?
careers.
How do you not think like, what am I doing playing this position? Like, what did I decide to do?
Well, goalies are just weird in general. I love them to death. Goalies were my best friends, like on all my teams. But
what's that say about you?
yeah, I'm a weirdo. I'll be the first one to admit it. But I'll never forget Dunnick. We were playing a Bantam tournament, and he caught one of our guys looking back for a pass. And like I said, this guy's he was twice the size of everybody on the ice. And this guy was going like one of these, caught him, boom, stick, goes straight up in the air and hits the rafters. That's how hard he hit the guy. His stick hit the rafters. That guy was supposed to be the next big thing, and unfortunately went to major junior and then CIS, and I think that was it. Well, I followed him. I mean, that was one of the guys.
Well, that's what I was going to say about youth hockey. You know, like, you're playing youth, you're growing up, you're a young kid. There's so many guys out there that have the talent and tools. They have the skills, they have the tool set to make it somewhere in hockey. It's just at some point some guys run into some hard times or whatever happens, adversity, and they kind of just give up.
Yeah.
When it's like, you know, like, I mean, Matt's a smaller guy. Like, he obviously played at NTDP, so he's good, but like, he had to deal with some adversity to get to D1, you know, and like go through tough times as we all did.
Yep.
I just think the difference is there is like, I played with so many guys when they were younger who had the skills, tool set to make it. They just kind of gave up on themselves at the time and like started focusing on other things. When they could have just, you know, stuck with it and kept playing hockey, and they could have been good.
It's pretty crazy how the game evolves, you know, every year, right? Like, you look back at the NHL a few years ago, and it was like bigger guys, stronger guys, might be slower, but they're smart. You know, they're fucking strong. Now the NHL, it's kind of dropped down into a smaller, faster, more skilled game. You know, you still have those guys that can keep up, but it's just crazy. It kind of goes like this, and once I kind of realized it once I sat back and I was like, holy shit. Like, you look at some of the guys in the NHL right now, it's like, I would have never thought.
No.
Joe Snively, a guy I played with in Green Bay, Sioux City.
Yeah.
5'0", you know, he's a small kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, he was really fucking good, but it's, you know, it was always his size. It was that's why I didn't get a commitment to, you know, some schools or whatever. And he goes out to Yale, fucking kills it out there, played his first NHL game this year. And it's like, that guy was 5'2".
He played an NHL game?
Yes.
I remember burying him from behind in Sioux City. I went in to hit, like, kind of push him up against the boards and just buried him from behind because I was like, I thought I was small.
Yeah.
I hit him. Good for him.
Yeah.
He got his game.
Another story on that was Sanford, guy that was with the Blues. I don't know where he's with now. I think he got traded.
Yeah.
But he was on Waterloo with all those guys, Brandon Montour, and when they were, Cal Peterson was their goalie or whatever. And Sanford's like 6'4", and Snively's just a little fucker around there, a little water bug, and Sanford's trying to fight Snively. And I'm like, man, like, if you want to fight somebody, fight me or get the fuck lost. Because that's how small Snively was. Like, it's crazy to see. It's different.
It is different. I mean, that's why you have, how many guys are on pace for 100 points this year? It's like, there's like 12 guys on pace for 100 points. That doesn't happen in today's NHL. It happened in Gretzky's.
Yeah.
But not today.
Well, especially with all the good the goalies are.
Yeah.
And their pads are bigger, you know, they're good. And people are asking, you know, there's people on Twitter and Veach has even asked, you know, he's saying like, our goalie's not as good and what's going on. I don't think the goalies are any worse. I just think if you watch every NHL team, there's a guy who can shoot the puck wherever he wants.
Yeah.
Do whatever he wants. Like, You haven't had that in the past in the NHL. Like maybe like 10 teams had that guy who could get points every game. Now you have every NHL team, and some teams have 2, 3, 4 guys who can do all of that.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to, so like, it would have been Gage and my junior year. It would have been your sophomore year.
Yeah.
When you guys had that Kajula, Schmaltz,
Yeah,
and
the CBS line.
Besser line.
Yeah.
And
The CBS line versus Pacific Rim line.
and we got Gambrell, Moore, and Heinen.
Yeah.
Now, those lines were disgusting, but then it's like in the NHL, they have 3 of those lines, and they're all better than even those guys were, right?
Oh,
And those guys could score at will.
Yeah.
Like that one game when we played on CBS Sports in Denver, when it was like that 6-4 game, and those 2 lines had every single point, pretty much.
every single
Like they were scoring
they're the only ones playing out there.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like those lines were auto scoring.
Yeah.
And then you go to the NHL and it's like those guys are a third line like group.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you take those NHL guys. Yeah.
It's
It's a good league right now.
It's like Drake Cajula is the perfect example. Like
yeah.
him in college. I mean, if you ask a lot of if everyone in the world watched college hockey every game, and they were to pick a favorite college hockey player, a lot of them would choose Cajula because he would run guys over. He would score highlight reel goals.
Yeah.
It meant like just crazy skill, crazy work ethic. He's like a 3rd, 4th line guy in the NHL, and he's got more skill than I could ever imagine anyone having.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many NHL teams are there?
There's what,
32?
32?
32? And how many are rostered?
Oh man.
What, like, what? Is it 30 or something?
No,
Even
it's like 25.
You get 4 lines. Do you get an extra forward in the NHL? I don't know.
Not in
like-
games,
there's like-
but
Oh, you
there's
get
like-
4 lines, 60.
There's like 800 guys on rosters in the NHL right now
800 guys in the world.
in the world.
Yeah. Which
So
seems like
to
from-
put that into perspective, that's
From the age of 18 to 40,
yeah.
however old Char is, 42
yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
I don't know how old he is, but it's from 18 to 40. So there's 20 plus years of guys playing, and there's only 800 of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
That,
But 800 is even like a big number, but if you put it into perspective, like think about all the, like, I think USA Hockey, I don't know what the numbers are for how many people register with USA Hockey, but it's hundreds of thousands, right?
Yep.
And then you narrow that down, and that's just USA Hockey. Then you take Canada, Sweden, blah, whatever, and you narrow that down. That's like what? Less than, well, it's obviously less than 1%, but it's like point
It's point,
whatever. Like,
point zero.
Yeah. And that's the perspective. Like that's what my dad kind of like drove into my mind, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But I'd say it's a good thing to just like put it in perspective. Like, hey, you might not make the NHL. There are 800 people in the entire world that play in that league.
Yeah.
So the fact that you only made it to the East Coast or you only played Division 1, you got to realize you're still 2% of whatever
It's
it might
le-
be.
it's
You know,
less.
it's
even
just
Division
crazy.
1 is like less than 1%, right?
Yeah.
Like there's what, 60, is there 60 teams now?
60 teams, so basically double the chance
Yeah.
of moving on, or half the chance of moving on to the
Well,
NHL.
it's like if you play in the USHL, I saw the stats. If you play in the USHL, you made a harder team than making D1 because
Yeah, that's
USHL only has
16.
it's 16 teams in D1. There's you said like 60.
yeah.
So if you're in the USHL, you got to be guaranteed a D1 scholarship somewhere if you want to play there.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's crazy when you look back at it because you have these such lofty goals as kids and whatever, and don't ever not work for those goals. But it's like if you got to realize if you make it to a certain step,
Yeah.
like you're probably considered one of the better hockey players in the world.
But then you
sure.
got to realize, like once you make that step, and it's like all of us, like we go to college, we're freshmen in college, we're like,
Yep.
we're in D1 hockey now. Like this is what we worked for our whole lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's guys on that team who are like, this isn't what I worked for my whole life.
Yeah.
I got to beat out those 800 guys in the NHL
Yeah.
versus my thinking, was like, I got to beat out these 20 guys in this college team.
Yeah.
it's just perspective everywhere. But yeah, I mean, it is cool to say you played college sports, and even D3 hockey. Like you got to be really good to play D3 hockey. You got to be really good to play anywhere D1. It's like it's competitive.
Even
it's
Canadian college. Like I played with a lot of guys.
Oh yeah,
who are in Canadian college who are great players.
Oh
who
yeah,
had pro careers. You know, I mean, there's a few that have made the NHL, but like I played against a guy when I was in Norway, and after Norway, he signed a deal in the SHL and he lit it up. I think he's in the American League now. And, you know, there's a chance he could end up playing in the NHL at some point.
Yeah.
And he took the long way and went CIS and, you know, got his degree and all that. So
it's like, what's the guy in the Caps?
Joel Ward.
Joel Ward.
Yeah.
He was a Canadian college guy. Works his way up to the NHL, and he was a full-time NHL, just playing every game.
Yeah.
Year after year, just you never know. I mean, that's what we talk about on here, Matt, is the different routes guys take to where they get to. It's just hilarious to think like every guy has a different route, so much adversity along the route that could have deterred them from not getting to where they wanted to go. And somehow they battled through it. And those are the stories that are cool to me.
Well, I remember even, and it's funny I know this, so like it goes back to Drake Kajula, because I remember, I think I was looking him up, it was like after his freshman year or something, because I just remember playing against him. I'm like, this guy's unreal. Like, how do I not know his name?
Incredible.
And I looked, and he got cut from Des Moines in the USHL. And he didn't make it, and it's like, what? And then, you know, he had his route or his path or whatever, and he ended up there. So it's like, you know,
well, he was scratched his freshman year at North Dakota, getting scratched, playing fourth line. It's like
crazy.
And then you fast forward to his senior year where he is
the man,
top 10 dominant players in NCAA hockey. Like, it's insane to think.
Yeah.
Yep. That's like Danton Heinen too. He played Jungle B up in Junior B, called Jungle B up in Canada.
He came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then he went to the BC and got Rookie of the Year. And so I can't remember why he came in. We lost somebody, or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And so we called him and we're like, hey, we need you to come. And he's like, I don't know if I'm ready yet. He comes in and just tears it up. And the second year, he is just unbelievable, and then signed with the Bruins. And that guy he didn't think he was ready.
Yeah.
It
is. It's crazy. We talked a little bit about it too. Like positioning, you know, timing, coaching, it all plays that role. We've talked about it 100 times, and I'm sure we'll talk about 100 more.
Yeah.
But it's just the way it is. It's crazy. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's relationships are different. It's wild too.
Oh, absolutely.
So
like Henrik Borgstrom, sorry, I know we're getting off on tangents.
No, it's all good.
So Henrik Borgstrom, he was a freshman when I was a senior on our national championship team, and Hank came in, and he has just disgusting skill. But when he came in, he might have been our worst player. Like, he was awful defensively. Like, you would look at him, like, we would go over clips, you know, whatever during the game, and you would look at him, and he'd be like spinning like a top in the middle of the zone, just the puck flying by him. And so, like, to Monty's credit, coached him up on D zone, and he bought into it. And like the weekend after he finally figured it out, he just took off, and he was like, you know, it was Troy Terry was like our best player, Terry and Gams, and then it was like Hank was right there.
Yeah,
he just, you know, he figured out the D zone.
I mean, right there, you might argue Hank was the best player on that team too.
Oh, for sure, dude, it
was close. I mean, that line, you went from the Pacific Rim line, and you had Trevor Morris sign after, right?
Yep, Morsey signed, Heinen signed.
And then everyone's like, oh, Denver lost everything. Then you get Borgstrom, and Terry steps up.
Oh, my God. That guy, he was so good that year. And that, he was, you know, obviously you can see it in the NHL now.
Borgstrom, you guys were good that year. I honestly thought, we played Duluth. I mean, I thought during that year Duluth was the team to beat because they had all the seniors like Iafallo, Susi, Toninato. They had Pionk on the team.
Coleman.
Yep, Coleman. They had Carson Coleman.
Did they have Miska and net too?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, it was. Was it Miska or Kaskasuo?
It was Miska still.
It was Miska.
Was it Miska?
Kaskasuo, yeah.
Oh, Kaskasuo was the year before.
Yep, and then he took off.
They were disgusting. I didn't think you guys. I thought they were going to beat you guys, and during that game, nothing against Duluth again and their fans, but
Yeah.
we had a rivalry with Duluth to where on the ice none of us liked each other, and
Yeah.
when we played you guys, who were just as good, better than us that year, we always had respectful games. You know,
Yeah.
we just play a hard hockey game, respectful.
It's a big fan rivalry.
Yeah, get out. It's more of a fans. Like, we don't hate each other. We're just playing hard hockey.
Yeah.
But when we played at Duluth, fucking hated each other.
Pure hatred.
And yeah, when you guys won that year, I was so pumped because one of my good friends was Butch, so I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just so happy for Butchie.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was, and I remember this, so we played Duluth was our weekend series right before Christmas break. And, you know, we split with them that weekend. And after that, I can't remember if we won the second game or if they did. But anyway, after that, Monty was giving his speech to us and he goes, boys, that's the national championship right there. He's like, if you guys want to win the whole thing, that's who you're going to play. Lo and behold, that's who we played and we beat. So kind of crazy.
Suck it.
Suck it.
I would have actually during that year. I don't know if I would have predicted you guys were there. Granted, you guys had a great team. I just didn't hate you guys at the time, but
Yep.
I would have for sure predicted Duluth would be there.
Yeah.
Even though we were supposed to play them once we
Beat
score
BU,
against
yeah.
we score against BU, we celebrate on the ice,
Yeah.
and then bam, turned over. They
Yeah,
call it off.
Is that what that year? That was that year.
Yeah, and then they changed the rule the year after. That was the heartbreaking part.
Yeah. So we enter the zone. We're cycling the puck around the zone for like a minute 30, minute 45. End up scoring a goal. Everyone's cheering. We're on the ice celebrating. Refs are in the penalty box reviewing, and we're like, what are they reviewing?
Yeah.
We've been in the zone forever. What are they reviewing? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it gets turned off from a back angle view where you can't actually tell if he's offsides or not. I saw it multiple times.
Yeah.
But not to say that we probably wouldn't have beat you guys, and we might not have even beat Duluth because they swept us both times that year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was tough.
The fact that it wasn't, so they changed the rule after. So we entered the zone or whatever. We were cycling around. BU got possession.
Yeah.
And they couldn't clear it.
Yeah.
And then we ended up scoring 30 seconds later. And they changed the rule that no matter, you can't challenge offsides once the defensive team gains possession.
Okay.
So they changed that rule the year after. Yep.
Yeah, it sucks.
But the worst part about it was, obviously, you know, we're a little butthurt because whatever.
yeah.
But the worst part was the linesman on the blue line wasn't the one that made the call. It was the guy skating up. It was the back. It was the back line. So you know how they're two. So whatever. So that was the killer for us. Obviously, I'm pissed because I had an apple on that game winner. Guy was hotter than a tamale. Like that would have been my 10th point in 7 games.
Yeah,
so you know
right.
I'm fucking rattled. But they ended up. But that BU team was nasty too. They had McAvoy, Greenway, all those guys. All those guys were
Clayton
gross.
Keller.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so let's, before we get too far, I know we're going off on tangents here, which is great. I do want to talk to Matt about his Denver days because we'll skip the NTDP because no one wants to hear about that shit show.
Yeah.
Just grinding your ass
okay,
off, working out for 10 hours a day, and then you go home.
Well, we'll give just the short recap of what happened. I got cut from the World's team for 2 guys that I don't blame them for taking. Seth Jones and Jacob Trouba.
Not bad players.
Not bad players.
Did you hear about Seth Jones?
I don't know.
This is an inside joke.
Okay. All right, fill me in here.
Okay, we'll fill you in quick, and then you get back to your story. But so Seth Jones gets traded from Columbus to
Chicago.
Nashville.
Oh, Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah. Okay.
For Ryan Johansson.
Okay. Oh, yep.
And they meet in the airport somehow. They start talking, and they exchange apartment keys. They're like, yeah, just take my apartment.
That's unreal.
So Johansson takes Jones' apartment. Jones takes Johansson's apartment.
Yeah.
Unreal story.
Yeah.
It is. So when this story breaks, everyone's going into the locker room for practice.
Yeah.
And we're all sitting in the locker room. You know, like, first two guys, they're like, you hear the story about Seth Jones, Johansson? They're talking about it. And then the third guy comes in like, did you see that story about Seth Jones, Johansson?
Yeah.
So it gets brought up like 15 times.
Yeah.
From each
And
guy
that's
that walks
a
in.
low end. Like everybody's coming in like,
Yeah.
boys, did you hear this story? You know, everybody
So
thinks
we're-
they're breaking
yeah.
news.
So we're all laughing like, oh yeah, I heard it 15 times.
Yeah.
The rest of the year and maybe 2 years after, we're still walking up to guys like randomly, like, hey. You'll walk up to a guy randomly, like if it's in class or at a bar or something, like, hey, did you just see the news about Seth Jones? And they're like, and they'll always be like, no, what happened? Well, he met Johansson in the airport and they switched keys, and we'd all just start dying laughing.
But that's the thing. And then of course, I moved down to the cities, whatever. I reach out to Gage. I know he's got his own company down here, so we're talking, whatever. And we started hanging out, and all of a sudden, I get a text from Gage, like a few months that I've lived here, and he's like, man, did you hear about Seth Jones? And I was like, no, man, what happened? Like, totally forgot the whole thing. Fell right into it. And he's like, oh, him and Ryan Johansson exchanged keys at the airport. I was like, I literally
5 years after the joke, I'm saying it to all still.
we've beaten this thing to fucking death now, but it's still hilarious.
It's a legendary story. Oh my God.
So, okay, you got cut because of those two?
Yeah, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a combined, it's a lot of money between the two. So I can put that feather in my cap that
Yeah.
I got my spot taken by some pretty good players.
Well, to add on to that, Trouba, so I came in the year you must have left.
Yep.
So I was 95. So
Yep.
Trouba and Jones were 18s when I was there. Trouba was in one of my classes with chemistry class.
Yep.
And Trouba was not, it's not like he's dumb. He just knew he was going to play in the NHL because they were so
The
good.
motivation was
They were so good, like they knew they were going to play in the NHL. It wasn't even a question.
Yep.
So we're in this chemistry class, and Trouba needs to pass the classes. And the entire semester, I'm in this class with Trouba. It's only me and him. I do every single one of his homework assignments. No questions asked. Like, he's asking me, like, yeah, send it over, fill it out for me. And I would do it every time. I'm like, it's fucking Jacob Trouba.
That was me with Brandon Sod in my U.S. history class.
You guys have NHLers you're doing it for? I did it for my freshman roommate Cam Johnson in microeconomics.
He's also an NHLer, Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah. Has he played a game?
No, but he's
there.
dressed.
He's there. And anyway, freshman year, I'd fucking be grinding out my microeconomics, whatever, and he'd be chilling on his bed, fucking doing whatever, chatting with gals, whatever, playing video games, and I'd be like, fuck, finally done with my homework. And Cameron would be like, hey, man, you want to send that to me? I'm like, hey, you fucking asshole, dude. You just watched me grind on that for an hour. Yeah. And now he's just like, hey, can I get the answers for that? I'm like, fuck you.
That was Trevor Moore for me. That guy owes me an NHL career.
But yeah, I mean, you can't be mad about that. And obviously you leave. So then you go to Sioux Falls after the program.
Yeah.
You play for Carey Eads.
Yep.
How do you end up getting to Denver? When did you commit there?
So I committed my first year in Ann Arbor. Yep. I committed to Denver. I had looks from Boston College, Vermont, Denver. I picked Denver because it was old WCHA. My parents could watch me play.
Yep.
BC was close, but I just felt, financially where my family was at, if I went there, they would have just never been able to see me play. And so, and I liked Denver. They had a good program, good history, and everything like that. And so that's why I decided there. And then after Ann Arbor, I didn't have a great, all jokes aside, I didn't have a good U18 year at all, and I deserved to get sent down or get cut from the team. And so, I played there till the end of the year, and then the DU guys were like, we want you to go play a year in the USHL, get your confidence back, and we'll bring you in. So I went to Sioux Falls right after, and our team was horrible. I played under Kevin Hartzell. He's a freaking awesome guy. I love Hartsey to death, but that year we were so bad. We were like 17-45.
I don't remember that. Who was on the team?
Austin Young was on our team. He played
Okay.
at Duluth.
Yeah.
Duluth guy, yeah.
Justin Selman.
Oh,
To be honest,
Michigan guy.
for a USHL team, we probably had the least D1 commits you could have ever had on a team.
Really? I don't remember
We were
that.
Yeah, so our team was we were the doormat of the league. And so after that year, DU came to me and they're like, you got to go one more. Like, we can't bring you in after that type of season.
That's why I don't remember it,
Yeah.
because this was the year previous. Okay.
Yep, exactly. And so then I went back my second year, and Eads, they let Hartzell go, and Eads came in, and he kind of like came to turn the culture around, which he's good at doing. And we flipped the script. So we went my first year 17-45. My second year we went 45-17. And we had a really good team. So our goalie was Charlie Lindgren, he didn't set the single season win record, but he took second place because the guy who had it, I think it was Jake Hildebrand, who I played with in Kalamazoo.
In Sioux City, is Sioux City boy.
He was Cedar Rapids.
Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, and he ripped it out. I think it was him. It might have been somebody else though.
I think Hildebrand played at Sioux City.
Did he? He might have. Or was it Gel, maybe? Was that his name?
Oh, Jelly. And he went to
okay.
Duluth.
Yeah, okay. It might have been him, actually, that had that record. But anyway, so we had Lindgren, who had a great year. And then we kind of had a bunch of misfits in Sioux Falls that we just meshed well. And we had a really good year. CJ Franklin, he had 31 goals that year. We had
Seuss now.
Yeah, Seuss now.
Oh, yep, Suis now. So at the time it was Franklin. Yeah, but CJ Suis now. He had 31 goals that year. Tony Calderon had almost 30.
Zeb Knutson.
Yeah, we had Zeb Knutson
This
there.
is the team I remember.
Yeah.
Who's the crazy fucker?
Dennis Kravchenko.
Yeah.
Dennis.
And Peter Hand.
Yep.
Yeah, Pete was, he had a couple screws loose.
Yeah.
The Preston Hodge was good. So we had Sammy Rothstein had a great year. We had 7 guys have over 20 goals that year.
Yeah.
And so, we had a great year. We made a deep run in the playoffs. We ended up losing to Fargo in the Western Conference Finals.
With all those fuckers.
Yeah.
They had
Toninato. And the funny thing was, it was 5-game series, game 5. We were up going into the third, I think. And so it's kind of like a Mankato Denver national championship situation. We were up going into the third and we just collapsed, and they just, we didn't have an answer for them, and they ended up beating us by 4 goals when we were up 2 goals. And it was so heartbreaking because we had a good year, and we would have gone on to play Dubuque, who we went undefeated against Dubuque that year. And then Dubuque ended up being Fargo.
Semgus Gergensen? And
No.
That would have been,
This was Downing and
they had Gambrell, I think, was on the team too.
they had a bunch of studs.
Evan Jansen, who
Yeah.
I played with in Denver.
Jansen's good too.
Yeah, he's good shit.
Good face-off guy.
Great face-off
Him and
guy.
Marciano.
Yep, they were our face-off guys. So they ended up winning. They had a good team, a really good team, and they had Monty coaching. And so then, because of that year, that was then when Monty took the Denver job. And I was, at the time, I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, I'm going into Denver, no matter what. Now looking back, I'm like, shit, he could have easily been like, Matt, you're not one of my guys. I don't want to bring you in. But I think, I don't know what happened with conversations or whatever, but I'm assuming Kerry Eads put in a great word for me because he decided to obviously keep me and all that. And so, I'm super thankful for that, because that could have easily gone the other way where I would have been, trying to find a spot to play.
For sure. That was the year I decommitted from Denver when Gwazdecky and Steve Miller left.
Yep.
And Monty ended up calling me to check on his, recruits that Denver had recruited, asked me if I'm still coming. And I knew he coached Dubuque, and my heart at that time was set at another place. I didn't know. It was really tough for me to decommit from Denver, though, because I had been talking to Trevor Moore and Butch, and we were all pumped to go to Denver together. And there's a guy from East Grand Forks where I'm from, Judd Stouse. He played at Denver too.
Yep, I know that
And
name.
he was kind of my mentor growing up, and he taught me how to play defense and do all this stuff. And I love the guy, and he's an unbelievable guy. And he was kind of one of the main reasons I committed to Denver. It was a really hard deal for me, but I remember just feeling bad that I had decommitted. I didn't know Monty. I didn't know the coaches. I didn't care if I like let down the coaches. I just
Yeah.
cared about let down the guys that I was going to go in with, which would have been you,
Yep.
which we probably would have had a great time.
Absolutely.
And that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I love that I chose UND because I have all my friends and memories from there, and it was great. But I probably couldn't have went wrong because Denver won my senior year, and I would have loved those guys just as much.
Exactly. I mean, regardless, you won a national championship, which is a pretty big feather to put in your cap, right?
Yeah.
Like, not very many people can say that at all. So,
Yeah,
either way, it worked out for both you guys, right?
it was some. The pressure was on when we played you guys in Tampa in the Frozen Four, and
Oh, yeah.
you guys had the Pacific Rim line, we had the CBS line, and we were 500 against each other all year.
Yeah.
Absolute
And
battle.
Yeah.
absolute battle every game. And we knew, like, when we were playing Denver, QPAC was the number one team in the nation, but we're like, if we beat Denver here, whoever wins this game is dummy the next game.
Yeah.
So we're playing Denver and 2-on-1 against me. You might have been one of the guys who
I scored.
You scored it.
I had the second goal.
that was off my stick.
It was off your stick, yeah.
That was off my stick.
Well,
and
obviously, I remember
yeah. You scored off my stick playing the 2-on-1, goes 5-hole, and all I could picture was all the UND fans chirping me on Twitter and everywhere else, like, this fucker, like, decommits from Denver and wins them the game. Because obviously, you guys were down 2-0,
Yeah.
and you tied up 2-2, and we're all thinking, like,
And you
they're going to
guys,
fucking beat us.
you guys were dominating us. Like, it was not even
Yeah.
close. We were like, I remember sitting there because I actually played like a pretty good game that game, and I remember sitting there and I was like, man, these guys are killing us. Like, this isn't even close. And then, obviously, as you know, in these one and dones, you get a little bit of momentum, and then the tides turn, and and then we made a comeback. But obviously,
Then somebody had to flip the momentum.
yeah.
You had to blow a guy up, take a penalty, and kill it off.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Or just send the CBS line out there with 30 seconds left. They'll take care of the job.
Yeah, win a draw. and-
Yeah. How lucky was that goal? It's just win a draw, pass it back. That was the luckiest goal we scored all year.
Yeah, but it was in the right time, right?
Right time.
It's funny because my whole family went to North Dakota. My dad did, my mom did, my grandpa taught at North Dakota. And so we go to the game, and it's funny, when I committed to Denver, my dad asked my grandpa, he's like, so grandpa, if Matt plays against North Dakota or just in a game, what are your thoughts? And he goes, well, I hope Matt gets a hat trick and North Dakota wins 4-3.
Yeah.
So we get to the Frozen Four, and it's tied 2-2. And he's sitting there, he's got a Denver hat on, but he's wearing nothing else, right? And you guys win, go on to the next game. You better believe he was at that national championship cheering you guys on.
You have to be though. If you're a fan, like,
exactly.
it sucks. Like,
Well, I grew up with him. We had season tickets, so I was going to all the games. Like, that was him, and him and I would go to every game as a kid. Like, that was our thing to do.
yeah.
And so, I don't blame the guy. He loved, obviously, North Dakota sports. So.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lot of my friends from East Grand Forks. So, like, East Grand Forks is on the Minnesota side of Grand Forks. So in East Grand Forks, there's actually, believe it or not, I mean, we're only 7 minutes away from Ralph Engelstad.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of Gopher fans there.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of my good friends growing up, and my best friend who was living next door to me growing up, he was a huge Gopher fan. So he's cheering for the Gophers the whole time, and then I get to UND, and his whole family's UND fans for 4 years, and then as soon as I leave, they're back to Gopher fans.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, I mean, how would you treat it any different? Like, if you know a guy on one team or you're friends with a guy on one team, it's like, you got to choose this guy. It's like, people are making fun of me for wanting the Gophers to win. Well, I know Ben Brinkman on the Gophers this year. He's the only guy in the whole tournament, including North Dakota, basically, that I know personally. So I'm like, I want this guy to do well.
Yeah.
And people are like, you want the Gophers to win? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, well, I don't want the Gophers to win. I want this guy to be happy because I know him. He's my friend. But
Yeah.
it's interesting how that goes. But God, that's cool. You guys were able to win it the year after too, and in your senior year, and especially getting that close. Like, Because you guys, was that your first time at the Frozen Four that year?
Yep, that was our first time. So what was kind of cool about my 4-year career throughout Denver was, so like my freshman year when we came in, it was a new coach. We were a big class of like 11 of us. And so when we came in, obviously like Monty was trying to set a completely new culture that, you know, was changing away from Guaz. And so each year we got to see the improvement, right? So my first year, you know, we won the NCHC tournament, but we weren't great.
That great.
No,
yeah.
we shouldn't have made the tournament. What we did, we ran into Johnny Gaudreau in the first round. They beat us 6-3. He had 3 goals, 3 assists. It was like, what the fuck? This guy is good. So we ran into Gaudreau, and then my second year. So let me back up a little bit. So my first year, we lose out in the first game. Second year, make the tournament. We win the first game. We go on to the regional final. We run into Providence, who was the 4 seed. We play them at home ice, sold out crowd.
That was a bullshit.
Yeah, and they beat us, and then they went on to win the national championship.
Be careful what you say, Gage, because we had our regionals in Fargo, so it's pretty much the same
Denver
shit.
had theirs in Loveland,
Yeah.
so you can't argue.
But I guess we weren't first seed every time, but you go to Providence, like, they're 4 seed and they just have a home advantage. Like, that's my argument against the regionals.
Yeah. But they were good, though. I'll give them credit.
They
had a great team.
They won it all. I mean,
yeah. I don't know how they ended up a 4 seed, but
I suckied that Noel Achari.
yeah. Noel they had so many good. They came to the Ralph that year and we played them.
Yeah.
They had a unbelievable. I don't know how they were 4 seed either. They shouldn't have been. They must have just took a shit middle of the season.
Yeah, because they had good goaltending. They had good forwards.
That was the weekend I became a legend at North Dakota. Not for my play, but I ended up pointing at the Jumbotron.
The old
game.
scoreboard.
Yeah, we were up 6-1 game 1, and then Hack got pissed, and we ended
Hack
up.
does not like that stuff.
No, he hates it. I absolutely loved it,
He
though.
hated,
I had absolute rock hard in the shorts.
He hated when I tucked against the Badgers at the Kohl Center.
Yeah.
Took a slap shot, scored against the Badgers, and then I did the, raise my arms. I turned towards their bench, and I raised my arms, just skated towards them, like. And I remember after the game, Hack just reamed me out for 3 minutes, like, you don't fucking do that at North Dakota. We score a goal, we act like we've done it before. And I'm like, Coach, they were chirping my mom all game, which they were.
Yeah.
They were literally chirping me all game, like, Ausmus, your mom's a fucking MILF. Fuck you, you pussy. No. Chirping me all game, and I score that goal and turn to him, and I tell Hack this. I'm like, Coach, they're chirping my mom. I had to do something. He's like, they're chirping your mom? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, never mind. He just walked away. He just walked away after, and I was like, that's right.
That's right. So we lost to Providence. Then junior year, obviously, we make the next step, play you guys in the first game, Frozen Four. You guys go on to win. So then senior year, then we made the final step. So it's like
it helps being there before though.
Oh, it does. Yes.
Olson and I were there the year before we won. Yep. I was there a year earlier than Olson. Like,
yep.
That helps being there, and that's why this year I was like, I think Denver has the advantage. Like, these guys have been there.
Yeah.
Like, showing up to that semifinal game, which is honestly more it's harder, nerve-wracking than the championship game. That semifinal game is insane, and the amount of nerves you have and stuff going into that game, it's like.
Well, you got the red carpet going, and everyone. There's big hype and ESPN and blah blah blah. Like if you haven't been there. It's a spectacle, and you get kind of lost in the big lights and all that.
And DU's been there 4 out of the past 6 years, so like they know.
Yeah, there's at least guys who've been there and understand, and if you can bring the young guys along, then it's that much easier.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, so you're at Denver, you win senior year. How do you decide to play pro hockey after? Like, were you thinking of retiring after that? Like, because I know. When we won also, it was like, if I was a senior, I was like, what am I going to do after this that's going to even come close?
Yeah. So there was a small bit of me that I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, right? And then I talked to Monty, called me in, and he's like, Matt, I think you should look at going over and playing in Europe first. It's probably going to be best for your game. You'll have fun. He's like, I just don't see you, playing in the coast and having a lot of success with your size, and because it's a grind, and, I have back issues and whatever. And so I ended up going over to Norway for my first 2 years of pro and played the Norwegian league there and had some fun, had the grinds of not getting paid or, dealing with like when you go from Denver or North Dakota or like these big college
all
programs,
those D1 school, and
dude,
you're stepping down a step.
Yeah, dude, you're getting treated like an NHLer, right? Like we're flying into Minneapolis, we're going to JD Hoyt's to get a steak dinner, or like in Denver, we're going to Elway's to get like a $60 steak. And then you're flying everywhere, like we're getting whatever sticks you're getting anything you want. Then you go to Norway and you show up and they're like, we got 6 sticks for you. I'm like, for like the first 3 weeks? They're like, no, for like the first half year. I'm like, that's not going to work, right?
Okay, don't take any one-timers.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
especially in practice.
Exactly. At one point in Norway, and this actually is kind of bizarre, but I went on my longest point streak, and I was using a different stick every game because I ran out of my sticks. And so I was having to go back into like what I brought over from school. And then I ran out of those. And so we would I'd break a stick during the game and we'd go over to the other team's equipment manager and be like, hey, can we buy one from you? And so I would use like 100 flex stick, which I'm a small guy and I usually like 75 is my bread and butter. Yeah. And so I was using like 100 flex stick. And so I couldn't even shoot. I would just have to pass. And I did that for probably like 15 games.
That's fucking wild.
It was insane.
I'm like the opposite of that. Growing up and shit, like my dad, I used a wooden stick forever.
Same.
And then, my dad upgraded and got me the Synergy Psycore, that orange looking motherfucker.
Yep.
And I used that forever. And so I never really like took my sticks very seriously. Like I just had, a little baby hook, a little fat paddle. Like I never took it seriously.
Yep.
And I couldn't believe the difference when I actually found a stick
you liked.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget my junior year I switched, and then I switched again when I went pro, and in pro I finally found my stick that I loved using, like the handle, my shot, everything. And it is fucking insane. Like because before I didn't care and I didn't think much of it. It was just like, okay, then I kind of blamed it on like my role. I'm like, I only get 7 minutes a game. Right. Whatever.
Well, people look at sticks as like, if you're looking at your stick, it's an excuse to make a bad play, or it's an excuse to not do something right. Well, there was a time in college where I actually had like a terrible batch of sticks.
Yeah.
And every time I take a one-timer or a slap shot, it'd break in the same exact spot in the stick. So, like, obviously you're thinking back to CCM. I was using a CCM tack stick. You're thinking back to CCM manufacturers, and you're like, this batch was obviously just fucked up. Like, they messed it up. So I'm talking to the equipment manager the whole time in North Dakota, like, I can't even take a slap shot. Like, it's breaking every time.
Yeah.
And he was kind of a little stickler with the money. Like, I don't know what goes on with the equipment managers and how they're supposed to manage the money and like buying sticks and doing all this. Obviously, there's a budget they have to work with.
Yep.
But I'm like, hey, man, like, these sticks, like, I every time I take a one-timer, like, it breaks in the same spot. I need like a new batch. I didn't get them. And I was talking to the coaches. I was talking to Jax about it. I was like, Jax, like, I can't take one-timers like in practice because my sticks. He's like, oh, it's bullshit. He's pissed. And then in the middle of the game one time, I got a one-timer pass. And I tried to one-time it, and my stick just fucking broke in half. And I skated to the bench after, just pissed. And all I could see is Jax just screaming at our equipment manager like, he needs fucking new sticks. What the fuck? Like, just so pissed. And I'm like, yeah, I need new sticks. Can't fucking take a slap shot with this one.
So, speaking of CCM, this is, I don't know how true this story is, and so I may be completely making this up.
That's fine.
But this is the rumor mill, and we're gonna go with it. So, the equipment or the CCM rep in Denver, he'd come around there. So we're lucky in Denver that we're sponsored by Adidas, so we can get whatever sticks we want. So if you like Warrior, Bauer, whatever, like have your pick. And so the CCM rep would come around and try to like obviously sell guys to use CCM. And he was telling a story where, so a couple years ago in the playoff, or I guess let me back it up. So Tarasenko, he's very picky about his sticks, right? He's got CCM. And so CCM will have to send him a batch of sticks, and he'll take each one, he'll hold it, flex it, and he'll decide if it's a good one or a bad one. So if it's a good one, puts it over here, bad one over here, right? So he'll do it for every single one. So he may only pick out like 5 sticks in a batch of 32, and then he'll send all the other ones back, right? So playoffs roll around, and he runs out of sticks, and CCM has none of his sticks. They can't make them fast enough. They don't have any or whatever. And so they're panicking in the back room. They're like, fuck it. Just send him whatever we have with the ones he hated. So they sent him all the ones he hated. Didn't tell him. They said he got brand new. Feels them. Fucking takes them and plays with them in the playoffs like it was nothing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's like, no idea. It's like, oh, my God.
It is. It's crazy, though. Once you have the feel of what you enjoy, you can tell almost immediately if this is like a good stick. I'm sure in his situation, too, though, it's like, all right, I have no sticks. Yeah. They have to be sending me the right ones.
Yeah.
But that is fucking hilarious. That is the exact ones that he sent
Unbelievable.
back.
Oh, I know. He just gets them back and uses them.
My favorite sticks, they were never Bauer. Bauer sticks are great off the hop. But once you flex them out, like you order 100 flex, which is I order a 95 flex with 2-inch extension on it, and then I cut it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'd use these sticks for like a week and a half. They'd be great. And then after that, they'd kind of be flexed out. They'd lose their flex. So like my 95 or 100 flex stick would be at like 85 flex.
Yep.
And it just wasn't the same. But it wouldn't break.
Yep.
So if you don't break the stick, like your equipment manager's not giving you a new stick. Because your stick's not broken. He's like, that one looks good to me, bro. Like, and you're like, no, like, fuck you. Like, it's flexed out. Like, it's terrible. Well, Warrior, I used Warrior in my 18-year in Ann Arbor, and the sticks were unbelievable because every time they would want to flex out, they'd just break in half.
Yeah.
So I'd get a new stick, and I'm like, I don't have a problem with breaking these sticks because they actually break when I want them to. Like Bauer, if I'm using a Bauer, it does not break when I want it to. It just gets flexier, and then the equipment manager is giving me shit for not breaking a stick. So then I get caught in practice sticking my stick in between a fucking door jamb trying to twist it off, like trying to get a new stick. It's like
you're practicing as a defenseman going hard to the net and then breaking it over the post. Oh, damn it.
Slamming it over the post like, oh, it's broken. Sorry.
Working on my net drives.
Sorry, brother. Broke another one.
Okay, how about this? This is another tangent. Mount Rushmore of sticks that you played with in your career.
Easy.
All right, you start it.
First one, my Warrior setup I had in the Coast, and it's not even close.
Really?
Yep, it's not even close.
Which ones are those? The Alpha?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alpha. And then I had the CCM Tax.
Yep.
Yep.
And
stick.
yeah, though I liked those a lot, but that was the one where I actually like put a hook on it a little bit, and like I had the feel and whatever, and then the Warrior was the next step. The feel was better.
Yep.
Before that would be the S19.
Yep.
And then before that one's obviously the Psycor that I used when I was a young kid.
Yep.
Those are my 4.
Yeah. I was going to go the Easton SL, the super light.
Yep. That sounds good.
It either had the blue
Or the red.
little spray paint on the bottom or the red, and it would chip off if you had it too long.
Yep.
I never had it too long because it would break.
Not a big
But
deal.
that stick was... But that stick was unbelievable, and the reason I broke so many sticks is I feel bad for my parents, but I was always like kind of grew faster than everyone else.
Yeah.
So I was just heavier than everyone else using these same sticks. So I was just breaking them all the time.
Yep.
So I've got the SL, and then actually, once I actually put on pounds, I'm going to go the Easton ST, the super tough.
Okay.
So I went from the super light to the super tough.
Okay.
And that stick was, I mean, you could absolutely lay into it one time, and it would not do, it would just pound it.
Just a 2x4.
Oh. And then I went into, so I wasn't a stick handling guy. And then I went into the TaylorMade RBZ, the CCM RBZ white stick.
Wow, that
The
might be
rocket ball?
That might be an honorable mention.
The rocket ball could not stick handle worth a shit with it because you couldn't feel anything. But my God, could you take a hard shot?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. But yeah, then I'm going to have to go with the Warrior. I don't know what it was called, but they just made them so perfectly to where they would break whenever they were flexed out, and then you get a brand new one.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So mine would be the CCM, the Super Tax. I liked the curve I had in college was awesome, but it was like a custom. I couldn't even tell you whose it was. It was just a custom curve, and it was good for passing and like saucing and everything. But fucking A, when I would shoot the puck, it would just go straight up.
Oh yeah,
it was an absolute wedge. So I didn't have the best shot, but
the best shot for PWA when you just want to go top tit.
Exactly.
And you're in warm ups, and if you hit the glass, it's like that's nasty.
That's tight. Yeah, I had a lot of like. If I was a forward, it'd be a great stick because everything would go upstairs. But like as a defenseman, like I would piss off a lot of like forwards because like drill them in practice, like in the arms and shoulders.
I wouldn't get mad at you just saying, no, I eat that shit for breakfast.
Olson eat that shit any day. But if you're like Will Butcher used to always make fun of me for my curve.
Yeah.
Because I was using like a little bit less than a Sakic curve, and I'm like, Butch, I can't stick handle without. He's like, can't stick handle. I look at his curve. He's using a Madonna curve.
Dude, he's got the worst curve.
That's the one I use.
It's literally like I'm looking at Butch's stick, and it's literally straight. And he's like, "How are you supposed to make a backhand pass with that stick?"
Dude, with all the skill,
he's like looking at He's looking at everything. I'm like, he's right. I can't.
I love Butchie. He might have the worst curve in the entire NHL.
The worst.
Oh my God! But so I have Super Tax. I like the Bauer X60, I think it was.
Those were early on.
Those are early. I think I had those in Ann Arbor. I like that. The Nexus was a nice stick.
Wow.
And then actually I did like the Warrior, the one we got in the toast.
Yeah.
I liked the curve on it.
Yeah.
The feel I got, at first I hated the feel, and then I got used to it. And that's what I still use now because I got the summer stock going still from 3 years ago.
We're gonna have to reach out and get Warrior to
get a sponsor.
Yeah, we'll sponsor us.
Mace, let's hear your stick preference.
Well, recently, I probably haven't switched sticks in about 5 years at this point because I've just been playing beer league and pond, whatever. But my two sticks that I have never let go of are my Stealth CX from Easton and the Nexus 8000. I will never let those go. I shoot so well with my Stealth, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Not even close.
There was no love out there for the Bauer 20, the 2X. It was black.
Oh, the Vapor 20?
The Vapor 20.
Those look nice.
Straight black, chrome 2Xs. That's it. Unreal stick.
How about the 30 light? Like the white and green one. You know what I'm talking about?
When the white and green one came out, it was kind of like wood. They came out with a wood one too, and you're like, that is the sickest stick I've ever seen. You're almost like pulling up pictures of that stick online, and you're jerking off, just staring at those pictures like, this is incredible. Oh my God, look at that stick.
It's got a great shaft.
I remember seeing that at the Hockey Expo, and I think I asked that for like the next 3 Christmases.
Oh yeah,
yeah. My dad never let me indulge in the Bauer series.
No. I was
Oh, you like Bauer, Trevor?
Eat shit.
Think again. Yeah. Here's a Sherwood, buddy.
Montreal.
Yeah. Paul Coffey was a great player.
Hey, that's the curve I use.
You want one of those Bowers? Yeah, I bet you do.
Well, good talk about sticks. Great having you guys here tonight. Great having a former national champ, current national champ too. You might be visiting Denver sometime soon just to hang out with the boys.
We got, I think, our 5-year reunion is this week, or not this weekend, this summer out there. So,
Oh, I do want to give a shout out to, which is kind of funny before we end this. Ronnie Attard, Noah Cates, Bobby Brink, all on the Philadelphia Flyers right now.
That's nice.
They're playing tonight?
Western Michigan, Duluth Bulldogs, Denver Pioneers, all played against each other during the year. They're all on the same team now in the NHL.
Please tell me they're on. Oh, one's defense, aren't they?
One's defense. Yeah.
I was gonna say I love
That little fact there that's sick.
Yeah.
Like, that's so. I remember seeing Bobby Brink was drafted to Philly, and I saw Noah Cates and Attard go to Philly, and I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna have 3 NCHC guys, and all these guys have the potential to be like
Superstars.
a big time player.
They
could, like, all 3 of them could kind of lift that program up because they're well out of playoffs.
They play on TNT tomorrow night against the Rangers.
Yeah.
So I'll be tuning in.
I'll be watching that as well.
Yeah.
I don't watch many NHL games, but I'll tune in now.
We got Bobby Brink, Minnetonka boy.
Oh yeah. God, he is
Absolute stud.
He is sick.
Yeah, he's
So are the other, I mean, Cates,
all of
Cates
them
and
are.
Attard are.
I'm a little bit
Nuts,
biased, but they're all good. Yeah, they're all good.
Yeah, NCHG's not bad. How are you doing in Big Ten?
Awkward.
Well, thanks for coming on, Matt. We appreciate having you here. And
Yeah, thanks for reaching out and having me on. This is exciting. You know, I've been waiting to be able to shoot the shit and talk some hockey for a long time, so it's been nice.
it's obviously exciting because he's got 9 national championships. We have 8.
Yeah.
But whatever. We'll still be friends with him. Fuck.
Yeah, it's hard being on top looking down at 8. I'm gonna be honest.
that's the energy we need. I love it.
We'll see you next week, folks.
Around